All right. Thursday night late. It's Thursday night late. It's 12:01. Nobody? Nobody? Okay. Well, let's play the game. Play the game now. Let me go and put my hangout, my page. Okay. And I want to say something. Put my link up here because I can't do it any other way. Okay. Shared. Cat meow. Yeah. Cat's meow. All right. I don't care, Thor. If Thor News wants to use my video, that's okay. I give that here. And I'm broadcasting. Okay. Okay. Well, on here. I want to pull out the holographic universe again because we need to know the holographic universe that we live in. Okay. I have to have my glasses to read this up close. I can read it at a distance, about 2 feet. But if I put these on, I can read it up about 4 inches. Okay. Here we go. Pocket for miracles. Miracles happen not in opposition to nature, but to opposition to what we know of nature. St. Augustine. There we go. Every year in September and May, a huge crowd gathers at Dominio San Gennaro, I guess it is, the principal cathedral of Naples, to witness a miracle. The miracles involve a small vial containing a brown, crusty substance, alleged to be the blood of Saint Gennaro, or Saint Gennaris, who was beheaded by the Roman Empire Diocletian in AD 305. According to legend, after the saint was martyred, a serving woman collected some of his blood as a relic. No one knows precisely what happened after his blood as a relic. No one knows precisely what happened after that, save that the blood didn't turn up again until the end of the 13th century, when it was inscribed in a silver reliquary in the cathedral. The miracle is that twice yearly, when the crowd shouts at the vial, the brown crusty substance changed into a bubbling bright red liquid. There is little doubt that the liquid is real blood. In 1902, a group of scientists from the University of Naples made a spectroscopic analysis of the liquid by passing a beam of light through it, verifying it was blood. Unfortunately, because of the liquidity containing the blood, It's so old and fragile, the church will not allow it to be cracked open. Okay. I can agree with that. So other tests can be done, so the phenomenon has never been thoroughly studied. But there is further evidence that the transformation is more than ordinary an event. Occasionally, throughout history, the first witness account of the public performance of the miracle dated back to 1389. When the vow is brought out, the blood refuses to liquefy. Although rare, this is considered to be a very bad omen by the citizens of Naples. In the past, the failure of the miracle has directly preceded the eruption of Venetianists and has Napoleonic invasion of Naples. More recently, in 1776 and 1778, it presaged the worst earthquake in the Italian history, and the election of the communist city government in Naples, respectively, is liquefaction of San Gennaro's blood is a miracle. It appears to scientific laws that its liquefaction caused San Gennaro himself, I believe, of the people witnessed the miracle. I say it's because nearly all of the miracles performed by the saint and the wonder workers of the world's greatest religions have also been duplicated by psychics. This suggests that, as with stigmata, miracles are produced by forces lying deep in the human mind, forces that are latent in all of us. Herbert Thurston, the priest who wrote the physical phenomena, wrote the physical phenomena of mysticism. Himself was aware of this similarity and was reluctant to attribute any miracle to a truly supernatural cause as opposed to psychic or paranormal cause. Another piece of evidence supported in this idea is that many stigmatists include Pedro Pio and Therese Newman were also renowned for their psychic abilities. One psychic ability that appears to play a role of miracles in psychokinesis, or PK, since the miracle of San Gennaro involved a physical alteration of matter. PK is certainly lightning suspect. Rogo believes PK is also responsible for some of the more dramatic aspects of stigmata. He feels that it is well within the normal biological capabilities of the body to cause small blood vessels under the skin to break and produce superficial bleeding. But only PK can account for the rapid appearance of PK. Is clearly a factor in some of the phenomena that accompany stigmata. When blood flowed from the wounds of Teresa Newman's feet, it always flowed towards her toes, exactly as it had flown from Christ's wounds when he was on the cross. Regardless of how her feet were positioned, this meant that when she was sitting upright in her bed, the blood actually flowed upward in a counter force of gravity. Do you see what I'm talking about? It was observed by numerous witnesses, including many U.S. servicemen stationed in Germany after the war who visited Newman to witness her miraculous abilities. Gravity-defying flows of blood have been reported in other cases of stigmata as well. Such events leave us agog because our current world does not provide us with the contents in which we understand the PK. Brahm believed viewing the universe as a hollow movement does provide us with a context. To explain what he means, he asked us to consider the following situation. Imagine you're walking down the street late one night and a shadow suddenly looming up out of the nowhere. Your first thought might be that the shadow is an assailant and you are in danger. The information contained in this thought will in turn give rise to a range of imagined activities. Such as running, being hurt, and fighting. The presence of these imagined activities in your mind, however, is not a purely mental process, for they are the inseparable from a host of related biological processes, such as excitation of nerves, rapid heartbeat, release of adrenaline, and other hormones, tensing of the muse beat, release of adrenaline and other hormones, and the muscles, and so on. Conversely, if you first thought that the shadow is just a shadow, it's difficult to know biological follow. Moreover, a little reflection will reveal that we react both mentally and biologically to everything we experience. According to Braun, the important point to be gleaned from this is that consciousness is not only one thing that can respond to meaning. The body can also respond, and this reveals that the meaning of stimulus are stimulously both mental and physical in nature. This is odd, for we're not mentally thinking of meaning of something that can have an active effect on the subjective reality, on the thoughts inside our heads, not something that can be engaged in the response in the physical world of things and objects, meaning can thus serve as a link or a bridge between these two sides of reality states. This link is indivisibly or versible in the same sense that information contained in our thought, which we feel to be able to be a mental side effect at some time. Interesting. Between these two sides of reality. Roman states, Roman, or Brahm, B-H-O, or B-H-M, Brahm, states, this link is indivisible in the sense that the information contained through and thought we feel to be a mineral side is at the same time neurophysiological, chemical, and physical activity, which is clearly what is meant by this thought on the material side. Tonal, I would say in Don Juan's definition. But you know, I've read the books of Carlos Castaneda. Right. Roman feels that.
Hey, you.
Hello. Hey, you finally found me. I'm amazed you found me. I've seen you looking for me, and you couldn't find me. You always delude me when you find me like this that easily. I didn't even have to put a print up anywhere. Hello.
Yeah, it actually had a link that said join the hangout. And I was like, oh, okay. So, boom, now here I am. How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm just sitting here reading the book of the holographic universe. I was just reading a piece out of it. Talking about stigmata and stuff like that and how it relates to the holographic universe. But, it's called A Pocket Full of Miracles in this chapter that I start reading. And it's pretty interesting. You ever get a chance to read Michael Talbert's book, The Holographic Universe? It's awesome. It really is. So how you doing?
I'm doing swell.
Oh, cool. That's good. As long as you're doing swell, I'm happy.
Swell. I'm leaving for Vegas Sunday, so I'll be there for a week. Fun.
Oh,
Fun
you're going to
time.
Vegas? You're going to go to Vegas. I used to live out in Las
You should
Vegas.
go to Vegas. It's going to be expensive next week anyway, because it's a convention. But you should go. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I used to live out there. In Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to live out there. I lived out there for 6-7 years or something. And I used to hike the mountains and everything. I used to do it all. It was wonderful to go out there and hike the mountains. If you go out there on the east side, or the west side, where I have the you have to go up on the mountains to get to it, but it's called the Mormon Mine, and it's a cavern. I mean, you go in this place where they mined it. It's 20-30 feet above you in this cavern once you get into it. And they used to mine silver. Well, they thought it was lead. And they thought they're mining lead. And the story goes that they were selling this silver as lead. And they didn't realize they were making silver bullets everywhere. It's a fun little place to go to. I've collected specimens from it and stuff, and from the Powlings. You go out there and there's big mounds of rock and stuff. Yeah, you'll probably enjoy it if you went out to do that. Maybe you should visit my sundial, which is out by Lake Mead. I did a video, and if you go onto my Spellbinder site, there's a video I did where I looked it up and found where I made this magic circle, and not really magic circle. It's a compass in a way, because it's all made up of rocks and stuff, and you go up there and you can see. I went up there and the lake. You could see over the lake and everything. It was off of Lake Mead Drive. And you go up to a point where you have a drive off. They give you a place where you can pull off from the road. and you just go hiking up the hill, and you're see what I created. I went there and looked at, and I even made video about that because it's still there after 10 years, after 15 years, and I put this rock formation because they had this Baltic rock, and I took it and made a circle. I made everything, and it's like and it's aligned to true north. It's not aligned to anything less than true north. And I went up there, and that's where I was up there, and this fox came along, the desert fox. And the desert fox was almost friendly to me. I mean, he came right up to me and stuff, and I was up there, and this fox in the night came up, and I had my camera and stuff, and I didn't get a chance to take a picture of it before it came up so suddenly. And it was a little fox. I mean, yeah, fox, it's like a cat. I mean, it's about the size of a cat. And it came up to me and stuff and ran through my circle. I almost got to pet it, but it was a little shy. It just came up there to see what was going on, and it ran out of my circle. I don't know, it's one of my Don Juan experiences. And this is one of those.
Well, see, you should go out there and then pick me up, and then we can go out there and see if it's still there.
Well, it was on Google Maps. I found it on Google Maps, and I made a video about it. And that was 10 years ago when I did that video. So, yeah. Pick you
Well,
up.
check your Skype, and if I manage to get a hold of a car while I'm out there, because I don't think I'll have one, I'll send you a message on Skype, and you can give me the coordinates, and I'll try to find it.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. And you can go up there and hike up the hills. It's kind of like hiking up, and you go down and through, and you come across this circle that has an N and an S, W and E. I mean, I may have like a compass coordinations on it. And I was out there at night when I put the thing together. And I was out there at night, and it looks over the bay. You can see the bay if it's still there. I mean, the water level is horribly dropped in Lake Mead.
Yeah, they're in drought mode out there right now.
Yeah, I was up looking on Google, and I looked at this place that used to have a boat dock, and it was high at the time where the boat dock was. Well, they closed that down, I guess, because you have to hike down the hill to get to the water from where the boat dock was. I mean, they had actually a slanted, how the boat dock's made up. It has a slanted place where you can take a boat and put it in the water, back your trailer and take the boat off. It's pretty wild. I mean, and that is amazing how many feet it dropped. It dropped more than 40 feet. It had to be about 100 feet because this dock is sitting up there with the little center and everything. And, it has the slope going down to where there used to be water in Lake Mead. Now there's no more water down there.
Oh, there was a ninja in here. Did you see that?
I just saw that. I was just going down there and introduce him. But he went away before I could get to him. I was just grabbing my mouse and going to go down there and identify him. And
you had a ninja.
I had ninja in here. Ooh. They're watching me. Oh, it's fun. Yeah.
No, fuck. You never know who's watching.
Well, that's true. I want to open this up to the public, but apparently he has to be on my list, or you couldn't get in here because I can't open public. Some reason Google doesn't allow me to have public access. You know, to people. I have no idea why that is. Maybe I'm controversial to them. I don't know.
No, you're not controversial.
I didn't think so either, but when I try to come in here on public, it's red. It's like, no, you can't have public. Okay.
You cannot have.
Control freaks. And they won't let me have a red person come in here. Red. Public. It's scary. Maybe I know too much. I don't know. Maybe it, because I know too much.
No, I don't think you know enough.
Well, I think I need to know more, but like you said, I don't know why they don't let me in. I talk about area, 54 and S4, and maybe that made them scared because I was accurate. Because I talked to people when I was out in Vegas, and oh my God, he knows. I know about the UFO connection. It's these beings are out there. They're all over the place. Hell, I was watching a documentary the other day that talks about seeing these orbs. Now, orbs are like spirits, I think, but then there's something else. And I mean, this guy was in this documentary. Orbs were everywhere.
You know what orbs are.
They're spirits of the dead.
Orbs are ghost farts.
It's like ghost farts.
That's what they are. They're ghost farts.
It's really weird because they move around and everything, and you can see them. I've seen them in my own house, and I've actually, if you watch my last video, that's 5 hours long, I went and actually did a ghost hunter thing with a flashlight, and I was talking with a female spirit that died in 1974 or so, somewhere along there, and she's haunting me. I don't know why, but she's haunting me in this reality. And I was able to ask her when she was born. She says, I was born in the 1950s. I asked her other questions because I told her, well, turn the light off, turn the light off, turn the light off, and the light would go off. I mean, I'm like those ghost hunters that put the flashlight up and you turn it just to the point where it comes on. And she was talking to me with questions and answers as far as I'd asked. I even told her, you can't tell me anything. She was leaving it on. And I was like, well, you can't talk to me when you leave it on bright like that. You got to shut it off, shut it off, shut it off. And it would get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer until it shut off. And then I would ask a question, and she would come back and with a bright light, and to every question I asked, I actually believe these ghost hunters have something with a flashlight. I mean, it's like the Ouija board with a flashlight. And I would always thank her. I would say, thank you for coming on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it would go out again. And then I asked another question, it would pop back on again. And it's amazing. It's amazing. You can talk with spirits like that, ghost or whatever. I mean, you can actually talk to them with a flashlight.
Well, if you listen and you're accepting of them, then they will respond.
Well, I had to record her on tonight. I actually brought her back, my dad back. My dad died, last year, and I was able to ask some questions to him, and it was, you know, it's lifting to know that you don't die. I mean, when you die, you're still existing, and it
But that's
blows
kind
me
of
away.
scary too, because I look at it and it's like some days I'm like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't want to be part of this anymore, And
Oh
other
yeah.
days I'm like, it's just why continue? Why would you want to continue on?
Well, you continue on to be reborn. At one point, they'll be reborn.
So was your father reborn right now?
No, he's still in limbo, walking about and trying to figure it out. I guess. I mean,
See,
think
that would
about it.
suck. That would suck.
Well, yeah, it sucks at the time, but then he finds the door and he's able to walk through it. I mean, there it is. You gotta remember, there's a doorway always to the next, other world. You gotta remember,
Yeah, but
there's other world out
what
there.
is what is the other world exactly?
Well, other world is like,
What if you go to it and you don't want to be part of that either? Then what do you do?
I don't know. If you don't want paradise, I guess you.
Because
I
see,
don't
that
know.
would be my thing. I'd be like, yeah, no, I don't like this either. Next.
No, come on. You always want something better, and it's got to be
Exactly.
better than this. I mean, otherworld is
But
paradise,
what if you just didn't want
and
anything at all? You just wanted to just go out like a
what
puff of smoke.
does and dissolve into nothing? Well,
Yeah.
I guess that can be possible too. I was talking to these Christian people. I've been on for a couple of nights talking to these Christian people, and I said, "Well, what? Give me a theory." And it's not a theory to me, but it's a theory to them. Okay, you die. Well, you're alive. Actually, let's start with living. God created the universe, right? It's spoken in the Bible several times and other places. God created the universe. Now, how is he going to experience this universe if he doesn't experience it through each and one of us? In other words, you have your own conscience that he gave you, and he's out there experiencing through you what he's seen. In other words, he sees through you. He knows everything. It's going on. I mean, that just makes sense. Okay. And, well, you are an existing, entity that was created from God. So he goes into you and sees through your eyes, hears through your ears, and knows everything. And
Yeah, and sees
he
that I
is
don't like
there.
it and I don't want to be part of it, so he better make it better for me or he's going to have to listen to me bitch.
Okay. This gets me this gets me to my next point. He gives you choice. Now choice is a maybe bad for us. I mean, giving you choice. Depending on which road you roll down, choice, He's just riding on you. He's the ride. He's riding with you. And he's on there with you riding. And if you don't turn to him and pray to him to say, change this, make this different, whatever, then you're gonna see whatever he wants to see, but you're riding the ride. You're the one creating the ride, and you're on there. Nero is on here. That's impressive.
What? I'm
Right?
impressed.
You're impressive.
Oh, thank you. So are you with your wolfness.
Woof. Well, I can change that. I mean, I have no idea of changing it. The fire wolf is the fire wolf,
I like it.
and
It's very majestic.
but you understand this, don't you? That
Christianity.
God's within you,
Oh,
not
yeah. I mean, I think
outside.
God is revealed in us every day before we even knew it. Just by being aware of your surroundings is enough to prove to yourself that how did I get here? What is my purpose? People ask these questions every day.
Exactly. I know. That's the whole thing. God's within us all, and He's experiencing His creation through us. That is the major thing.
To go further with DNA, I mean, DNA itself, to me, when I found out what DNA was, I couldn't believe that I had a unique code of DNA that belongs to me and me only and forever for eternity.
See,
That's
you
crazy.
you you see,
Hey,
you see.
that just gave me an awesome idea. Now that they've mapped out the DNA coding and they can store our DNA, that would be interesting to compare people's live like DNAs to see if there's like an exact match and maybe relate it to being reborn as in
Um,
reincarnation.
Well, there's no exact match.
I
There
don't think we
actually
would be
isn't.
around long enough for that. We
But
don't
the
have that
data
kind
will
of time.
exist. Well,
I
but the
mean,
data will exist.
the numbers that exist in DNA code go on for all. I mean, you could split apart DNA until nobody's alive anymore. I mean, supposedly Andromeda is supposed to slam into us eventually. So it's not like this universe is going to last forever anyway. We're on a collision course with other universes. Uh, I mean, I'm sorry, galaxies. I'm thinking of argument I got into with universes earlier. But what I'm saying is, basically, we don't have enough time with mathematics as it exists today to even uncover simple things like how many times does adaptation have to happen to make a horse, or how many times, we don't have those numbers. The numbers in mathematics are impossible. Those are impossible numbers that we'll never achieve, and we have graphed this to the point where we'd have to have some alien technology or something before we even.
No, we don't. We don't have to have alien technology.
There's no way that we have the sophistication in computers right now is not enough, and it never will be, to calculate those kinds of numbers.
That's true. In its own way, we can't calculate it.
Well, I think anything is possible, and somebody's probably doing it right now.
Anything's possible with enough time.
That's true. Yeah, it's
You have
true.
time on your hands too. I mean, yeah,
We're
we might
living
get
in
there, but I believe Revelations is going to happen way before that.
Revelations.
It is happening every day right in front of our eyes.
You want to know what I think about Revelations? And Netanyahu is the prophet, and he's come up before the Antichrist, and he's there. Netanyahu, Because he keeps crying, wolf, 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 wolf. Iran's going to destroy the universe. Wolf, wolf, wolf. And that's what I believe.
Yeah, I'm not crying. I'm not a doomsayer. I'm just saying I believe that that's going to happen way before we get to the point of when we don't need science anymore. Because I believe science is an ever-expanding pocket. The more you look into science, the more you're going to uncover more science. That's all you're going to do. There is never going to be a point in our lives where we don't need science anymore.
It's number. It actually is number. Aleister Crowley said
I know
everything
he's a
is
Satanist.
number. Is number. And everything you see is number. It's number. How many hairs on your head is number? I mean, you know, you gotta kind of look at the mathematics of it.
Yeah, I don't really believe anything Aleister Crowley says. He was a Satanist that used to rape little boys.
No, he never was Satanist. You
He
think
used to
he was
rape little
Satanist?
boys. He used to rape little boys. They proved it.
Well, they may have proved that, but that's just like the Catholic Church. What else?
Not
Yeah,
for
the
the
Catholic
reason that Crowley was doing it. Crowley was doing it because he wanted to suck the life force out of little children so he could live longer with demons.
But yeah, he didn't live that long, did he? In 1946 or 47, he died. And he had a lot of money from the OTO that
He's
was under
probably
his
the
bed.
sickest man I've ever heard of in my life. After reading his book, it made me throw up.
Which book did you read?
I have it right here. Hold on. I have
I
tons.
want to know. 777 to me, he said that was the most evilest number in the universe. But yet I read through that, and that is the most sacred book that I could find of his writings was 777.
It
And
was magic.
Magica.
No, I'm sorry, the Book of the Law.
Oh, the Book of the Law is a cipher, a UFO cipher that
Yeah,
he
it says
created.
exactly the
No,
opposite of
there's
Christianity. He said he wanted to kill off Christianity and invite Crowleyanity.
and see, you're not seeing inside of the book. It's the UFONOS cipher where
You
you can
really
get a
believe
hold
in
of
this
these
guy? You
UFOs.
really like Aleister Crowley? I mean, come on, man. This guy's nasty. He's the most
He was
sickest
only
man I've ever
nasty in
heard
his.
of.
He was only nasty in his last years. He wasn't nasty.
No, I'm sorry. He
Say,
used to. Oh man, you got to read into him a little bit more. Then he's probably the most satanic, disgusting person I've ever heard of.
he was trying to connect with the extraterrestrials. Is all he was trying to do.
No, those aren't extraterrestrials. Those are demons, my friend.
You call them demons.
He called them
They
demons.
come
I
from
didn't call them
outside.
demons. He called them demons. He said he invoked demons in that book.
He did not.
Yeah, he did. I can pull up the page right now.
You're
He said he
playing games with him.
and spirits into
No,
his body.
that's invocation. I don't agree with invocation except for the four archangels. That's the only thing I agree with invocation. Besides that, I don't believe in invocation. Evocation, I can do.
It
I can
contains
make a magic
descriptions of the
circle.
evocation of 72 demons.
Evocation or invocation?
Evocation.
Well, that's summoning outside yourself in the
Cool.
magic
Should
circle.
not be doing anything with demons.
No. You don't understand it then. You don't
Why
understand
would
the
you want
difference
demons
between
around?
evocation and invocation.
Right, I understand
Invocation,
that, but
you
the only
bring
thing
in
I
the
want to invoke is, or
angels.
evoke is the Holy Spirit. I don't want any other spirits around me.
Where you want to invocate, Michael. You
No, I
want
don't
to
do
invoke.
Michael. I'm sorry, I don't believe in Catholics.
There you go. You're lost. Not
Where
having
in
these
the
angels
Bible does it
around you.
say to invoke Michael?
It's probably in Psalms.
The only
You have
thing in
to
the
go
Bible
back
it
to
says is to
Psalms.
follow Jesus. It doesn't say anything about invoking angels or demons or anything like that. It actually tells you to stay away from spirits, that spirits are bad for you.
That's what you believe.
I'm just telling
I
you, if you
believe.
believe in
I'm a Kabbalist.
Aleister
I'm a
Crowley
Kabbalist.
rape little boys, then that is sick. That's sick if you believe in Aleister Crowley. That's all I can say, man.
So if
Okay.
we're supposed to stay away from spirits, aren't we spirits? Oh, well, he left.
Yeah.
We are spirits living in the material world.
Spirits in the material world. We are spirits in the material world. Do you understand that?
Yep.
She does. Do you?
The police
Oh,
told me that.
oh, he already dropped out.
Yeah, he left. I think Aleister Crowley came back and whooped him. Took him out.
Aleister Crowley. Now, this is my understanding. He was the most brilliant person in the coverings that were listening. If you want to call them coverings, if you want to call them a group, uh, the Golden Dawn. He rose up an instant to the top of that covering. He rose up to the top. He was so intelligent that he was able to rise up to the
Was he
top.
intelligent or was he just the most outspoken?
Well, his thing was that he tried to get chromosome. I don't know why chromosome or whatever it was, spirit. He wanted to invocate it. There's a difference from, evocate and invocate. There's a difference. He wanted to bring that spirit in him. It was the most powerful demon that he was trying to conjure up, and he wanted to bring it in himself. And he almost killed his partner. This is a story. He almost killed his partner if he didn't kill him. That after drinking cat blood, I mean, this is just the way he
Why the
was.
fuck is he drinking cat blood?
That was the key I'm trying to figure out. He gave it to his partner to drink, and he died from it. But he almost strangled him to death and stuff when he went to get chromosome.
So did the cat have worms or something like that?
I have no idea. It was never pronounced why this guy died later on in the in the invocations that they were trying to do. They were trying to bring these. I mean, at one point, Aleister Crowley was out there at Loch the river in Scotland where there's the beast and everything that comes up out of the water. Okay, there was a house out there. Now there was the group that made the song. I'm trying to think of this. This is all I'm trying to come up with this all at once, and it's okay. Give me a moment. I'm going to go to a page here. Oh, you got to be kidding me. I keep having these people trying to say, I got to help you with your PC because your PC is all fucked up and we want $300 to fix it. Screw you. I'll reboot the entire computer before I do that. I told this guy that called me up last night that I was in contact with before. Says, we got all these viruses on your computer and stuff, and we got to fix them. Okay. How much? $300. You know what I do?
Oh, no,
I
no, no,
just
don't do that.
reboot. I
Don't do
just
that. I
reboot
had
my
some
computer.
motherfucker call me and tell me that he said that he was calling on behalf of some computer company. I don't remember, Microsoft or something, and it said that they had detected that I had some kind of bad virus on my computer and that they needed to fix it. And I told him I didn't know what he was talking about. And he said, it's really important that we got to do this. And I was like, no. And he's like, yes. And I said, I don't even have a fucking computer. What are you talking about? And he hung up.
Well, I told this guy when he got on there, I said, you know, I have nothing important on my main drive. I'll just reboot the entire thing and put in my, your repair disk that you're supposed to make when you get your computer. And you make these disks and you just put them in, 4 disks, and it's done with. They're gone. Nothing's a problem. You just have to put all your software back in, which I have all my software on hard drive, on disk, and I'll put those back in. And he said, "Okay, thank you, goodbye." It was for India or something. It was a trip.
Exactly. See, they're fishing people and they're
Yeah,
trying to,
get
get
on
into
your
people's
computer.
computers. Yeah. Yeah. So anybody that's listening that gets that call, tell them you ain't got a computer.
Tell me you don't got a computer.
Don't
That's the
even
best
wait.
thing
Don't
I've
even
heard.
go into talking about your computer because they're fishing info from you.
Yeah, they're fishing, and I also have flash cookie cleaner, and I go through there every time they come through and stuff and say, okay, I just got rid of you so you can't track me anyways, and try to put stuff on my computer. I let him in. I mean, I let this guy in. He got to a point where he said, well, it's going to cost $300 to fix this problem. I went, no, you don't. And I just shut the window off.
No, you
Then
should have said, okay, you should have tried to barter with him. You should have said, no, I have $300, but, how
I'll
about
do it
this?
for 25. How about 25?
No, no, no. Just start like asking him for all these sick favors in return for his efforts and trying to fix your computer that doesn't
Well,
need to be fixed in the first place.
I actually talked him into telling me what was wrong. And I say, well, thank you. The first time I talked to him on the computer, and I was listening to him, and I was like, you just told me what I need to do to fix my computer. Thank you. And then hung it up.
No, he probably told you what to do to make it easier for him to try to access your computer.
Well, I already let him on, and I killed that program. I went and searched it out and killed the program. I actually was smart enough to know that he put a program on my computer, and I went and found it and I deleted it, and that was the end of that. But they just called me up tonight, earlier, about 7 o'clock. You got all this stuff on your computer. We need to fix this. Well, you want a Slurpee with that? I mean,
You
it
should
was
have,
the
you
Indian
should have
guy.
said, well, how did it get there? Did you put it there, you dumb motherfucker?
That's it. I said, the only thing I said is, I have nothing on my main drive that I care about. I can put in my
Don't
recovery
even
disk.
tell them that. Just
I
fuck
can
with
put my
them.
recovery. Well, I told him I was going to put my recovery disk in and get rid of it altogether, and I
No, you
won't
just
have to
tell them
worry
you're
about
gonna
it.
put something else in your disk drive and you're gonna
Oh
put
yeah, I
some
could have done
DNA
that.
in your computer and that'll fix the virus.
Well, I just told him I was going to reboot my entire main drive, reboot the whole thing with the recovery disk, and it's gone. and they won't be able to get back in.
Well, you shouldn't be so nice to people like that.
Yeah, it was some Indian
You should
guy.
tell them where to put it.
I should have told him he should be working in a 7-Eleven going, you want a Slurpee with that?
Well, he might. He's probably calling from a 7-Eleven.
You don't know. I mean, this is an Indian guy. It was from India. And I'm sitting there going, I don't need your help. I don't need your help. I will just reboot my system from scratch and put it back to factory, and you have nothing. Okay, nice talking with you. And that's what he said, and he hung up.
Yeah, that's the new Nigerian email scam. But the Indians have a little bit more balls and they actually call you and talk to you.
Oh yeah, I called them up first and had him go through my system.
No!
And I let him do it, but I went back,
No!
found the program. I found the program that he put on there and erased it and got that off my computer. And then they're now this calls again my phone number. They're calling back and they're trying to get me to let them back on my system again. And it was like, no. You're not going to do that. I'm smart now. I wised up. I really did. I wised up to what they were doing. And oh, is that going to look up on Google?
Oh, Jason, it was nice talking to you. I gotta go to bed because I gotta go to work tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I thought I'd stop in and say hi and give you a few laughs. It's been a while.
Okay.
You finally got it to work. I'll see you around. Have a good night.
Good night. Be good. Be good at it. It's now I'm alone. I'm all alone. Alone again. Always alone. I went up here, opened up all these people that could talk to me. Nine acquaintances. I don't know if I got 9 acquaintances on there or not. Oh well. I'm alone. 12:59. Maybe I should just go to bed. I don't even get people I want. It's like, well, they don't know I'm on here. This is the only channel I can open up. I can't open up my Spellbinder channel for some reason, and I have no idea why Spellbinder. I can't get these people in. I got 6 chats. Okay, there's my chats. I can't go outside my realm. I can't do public. He goes, oh, you're in public. Why am I not allowed to? I can't do it under Jason Moy. Why am I not able to do this? Why am I not able to induce? Okay, we can do it this way. Let's go. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. No, not it either. How do I? Well, I have to go. No, won't allow me to put public on here. My friends, acquaintances. Huh. Thursday night late, and nobody's able to actually come in. Interesting. Very interesting. Uh, bunch of them. Okay. Yeah. What's on the video call? I want to go back. Can't go back. Great. I post directly to you. Oh, come on. I know you will. I gave him a direct post. Spellbinder. And come on here. Even though it says in Spellbinder. Oh, there no my alternative. It's okay. Well, I know he'll know. Just woke him up. He'll be here shortly. I have TJ here, and everything will be fine. Do I have to go on my holographic universe? Okay. Let's go on a holographic universe. What do you want to know in the holographic universe? That's the big question. Movies in the aura. Okay. Okay, I don't see my glasses anywhere. My reading glasses. Look at those reading glasses. They gotta be right here. They gotta be on the floor. Or drop them down there. Oh, I have no reading glasses except for these over here, which are okay. They're onyx. Oh, got them upside down. Oh, I get it. Give me a moment. I gotta play with these things. Okay. Now I got so much slack on them. Shouldn't be no slack on any of these lenses. Okay. Okay. There we go. Movies in order. The images and psychics see in the energy field is not always static. Rich says that often, God, these things are full of foggy. I'm having a hard time reading through. Sees that what it looks like a little transparent movie going on around a client's head. Sometimes I see small images of a person behind their head and shudderets doing various things they do in life. My clients tell me that my descriptions are very accurate and specific. I can see their offices and what their bosses look like. I can see what they have thought of and what happened to them during the last 6 months. Recently, I told my client, hello, hello,
Hello.
how you doing?
How do you?
I'm reading through the holographic
Okay.
universe. I mean, do you understand the holographic universe that we live in? It's holographic. It's not real. Delusion as the Hindus. It's the Hindus that the Hindus say. We live in a imaginary world, and God's within us, and He experiences His reality that He created from within to without. And we're just subjects of His holographic, we're like pawns. I mean, really, we're just out there. He's not up in the sky. I hope you understand that. That God's not in the sky. He's not up there in the throne or anything. That's the illusion. He actually is inside of each of us, and He's experiencing His creation through us, and we're an experienceation of His life. You understand that, don't you? Where'd you go? Car commercials? What the hell is this? Oh, you're showing your downtown area. Okay, I understand that. You're showing that. Look, we're no different than you in your own way. Well, I know that. You guys send this to Obama. You don't have to send it to me. You got to send it to the Senate. You got to send it to Congress. They'll know that we are not different. There's no difference between us. It's God experiencing Himself through everyone, even them. And, they got choice. Choice is what they pick up on. And God's just having a good time taking the ride. He's on the ride. I see the video. But God's on a ride. You know that, right? He's only here for the ride. If you personally pray to Him, He changes stuff personally for you. He's not going to change anything experimentally outside, because everyone else has their own choice. And you have to understand choice. Choice is what it is. He's within you right now. And He's experiencing through your eyes and your ears and your thoughts and your feelings. I mean, no matter what these people are saying, that's their choice. It may not be God talking through them. Oh no. God's sitting back. He said, I created all this stuff. I'm just going to sit back for now and let choice work its way. And if they don't talk to me personally for their own being, remember that, the only being, then they're not going to understand what's going on. And that's what's happening right now. Their own being. I mean, you try to paste that up there and it doesn't really matter. It's their own being. Do you realize that? Do you understand that God's in you? He's inside you. It was spoken of in the New Testament. The God's inside. He's not out there. He's not some God in the clouds, in space, or anywhere else. He created all that. He's sitting outside within us and observing. You got to understand where he actually comes from. God's not out there. He's inside, and he's watching, and he's giving you choice. He says, I'll give these beings choice. But he's observing, and he's observing inside of you from inside to outside, hearing everything, seeing everything. He's basically the Santa Claus, if you want to know it. He's the really one that knows if you've been doing good and if you've been doing bad, because he's inside. And he's observing his experience outside, using us to experience all this. I just don't know why people don't understand that. It's so simple. It's so easy. It's Archon's razor. And if you go down the razor, you'll figure out that the simplest explanation is what it is. We're living and experiencing our own choices, and God's just sitting back and watching through us, through your eyes. He sees everything and knows everything. He's now trying to tell you we should all live together, trade together, have niceties against everything. There's no reason to fight and no reason to kill. There's just experience. Let him experience the niceties of his creation. Otherwise, he's just going to go, well, these things are so horrible and everything. It's like a nightmare. I'm going to wipe them off the planet and take the planet out too. Well, if you want that, go ahead and keep thinking that we hate everyone and we discourage everyone. Oh well, you're gonna find out what that gives you. We really shouldn't hate the Israelis except for the government. The government is bad, not the Israelis. The Israelis are good. It's the government that's bad. It's the government in the U.S. that's bad. It's the government in Europe that's bad. It's a government. I mean, it's governments. These people think they have a hedge on us. And that is what the evilness really, really is. If you want to know what the evilness is, it's government. We should have a free society where everyone just are nice and we trade amongst everyone. We set up trade bartering. We don't have no interest on anything. No interest. The interest is the killer of the mind, as in Dune. It's the interest, and that's simple. I mean, there's nothing out there that's really bad. It's just the governments, a few people running the world, We got to get rid of the few running the world under their own stupidness, and everything will run in. Now, people running the world, we would love to trade with you. We'd love to do all this stuff. We want to trade. We want to have things. But we can't have it under the fascist imperial corporations. Corporations is the key to this madness. It's the few that run the many. And it should be the many that run the few. And the few should be gracious to give us money to do whatever it takes to fix our infrastructure, to fix our lives, to fix everything. They got all the money. They've gotten a big pot. They're like leprechauns. They got a big pot of gold and they don't want us to have it. They're evil in that respect. They're actually evil. And I tried it. I try to tell people that. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You know, I'm trying to learn Arabic and Hebrew.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
I think you speak English, but I'm not sure. Do you speak English or just Arabic and or Hebrew? It sounds Arabic to me. I mean, somehow you're giving off the signs of Arabic, but you just dropped out. And oh well, I tried to. I don't actually talk fluent Arabic. When you talk to me in that language, it's hard to understand. And it's hard to understand Hebrew. I can read this stuff, but I don't really talk it. You know what I mean? I understand to a point of how to read certain occultic knowledge. I'm able to read this stuff. But if you talk it to me, I'm like lost. And I don't know. You dropped out. Not on here. And I heard some letters and stuff that I could kind of understand. You have to understand that I can read this stuff, but I can't speak it or understand the speech of it. Because the way it's been dogmatized, I guess, is the biggest thing. Anyone else want to come on? It's 1:25. I'm going to bed in about an hour. So 2:25, I'm going to be in bed. So if you're on here, you're viewing, you can find my link on my page. Come on in. Let's talk. Share something. I mean, I can only go so far. I mean, I even went to my other page, tried to share thoughts. Thoughts. Dogs. Dogs. Share dogs. Come on. Wake up. Wake up. I tried to send this to TJ before, and TJ, go to TJ and give him a direct link. Okay. Say hi. Bring him right in. Come on in, TJ. Trying to get you in here. It's real hard sometimes. Wow, what happened to my opening? Oh, there it is. I'm here. Okay. Trying to get TJ in here. TJ is an interesting conversation I get with him. Matrix reference. Well, I should explain that a little more before you left. Okay. Anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Come on in. Oh, if you're viewing, you must have a link into talking. Okay. Stay silent. It's Thursday night light. Is there anybody out there? Nobody wants to talk. That's unusual. Usually I get a conversation started at about this time of night. And nobody wants to talk. I got one viewer. I've been on at least an hour. And, well, I'm going to shut it off and nobody talks. Or I'm going to read out the holographic universe. Do you know that everything is a visual effect? The reaction of scientific community. I can flip to these pages and go to maybe the one with Carlos Castaneda. Aura. Movies and aura. I just read from that. X-ray vision. Now here's an interesting story. I put my glasses on. And It really does. And the last chapter, we explore the possibility that the body is not a solid construct, but itself is a kind of holographic image. Another facility possessed by many clairvoyants seems to support the notion that is the ability to literally look inside a person's body. Individuals who are gifted at seeing the energy field can also often adjust their vision and see through flesh and bone and body as if they were no more than layers of colored mist. During the course of research, Caligula discovered a number of people, both in and out of the medical profession, who possessed the X-ray vision. One woman she identified as Diane was the head of corporation. Just before meeting Diane, Carragher wrote that the corporation, just before meeting, or I wrote for me as a psychiatrist, just before meeting somebody who was reported to be able to see right through the shattering reversal of unusual procedures. Caligula put Diane through a lengthy series of tests, introducing her to people and having to make on-the-spot diagnosis. On one of these occasions, Diana described the woman's energy field as wilt and broke into the fragments and said this indicated that she had a serious problem in her physical body. She then looked into the woman's body and saw that there was an intestinal blockage near her spine. These surprises cause of the woman showed none of the symptoms that usually indicate such serious conditions. Nonetheless, the woman went to her doctor. The x-rays revealed the blockage in her precise area. Diane described, and 3 days later, the woman underwent precise area Diane described. 3 days later, the woman underwent a precise surgery to have the life-threatening obstruction removed. In another series of tests, Caligula and Diana diagnosed patients at random at the outpatient clinic of a large New York hospital. After I made the diagnosis, Caligula would determine an accuracy of her obstructions and referred to the patient's records. One of these observations, by referring to the patient's records, on one of these occasions, Diana looked at the patient unknown to both of them and told Caligula that the woman pituitary gland, a gland deep in the brain, was missing. Her pancreas looked as if it was not functioning properly. Her breasts had become affected and were now missing. She didn't have enough energy going through her spine from the waist down. She had trouble with her legs. The medical report, the woman revealed they had trouble with her legs. The medical report, the woman revealed her pituitary gland had been surgically removed. She was taking hormones which were affected her pancreas. She had a double mastectomy due to cancer, an operation on her back, the destitution of her spine, making it poor. Her nerves have been damaged, and the cord relieved the pain of her legs. And her nerves have been damaged, making it difficult for her to empty her bladder. In case after case, Diane revealed she could gaze effortlessly in case after case, Diane revealed she could look effortlessly into the depths of the physical body. She gave detailed descriptions of condition, the internal organs she saw, and stated that the intestines, the present or absence of the various glands, and even described identity of brittle of her bones, concluded Caravan described different bones. Although I could not evaluate her findings regarding the energy body, her obstructions of physical conditions correlate with amazing accuracy with the medical diagnosis. Women also skilled in looking into the human body called the ability of internal vision. Using internal vision, she had accurately diagnosed a wide range of conditions, including bone fractures and fiber tumor and cancer. She said she can tell the condition of an organ by its color. Well, a healthy liver looked dark red. A jaundiced liver looked sickly yellow brown, and the liver of an individual undergoing chemotherapy usually looked green brown. Like many other psychics with internal vision, Brennan can adjust the focus of her visions and even see microscopic structures such as viruses and nano blood cells. I have personally encountered several psychics with the internal vision and can corroborate with its authenticity. One psychic I have seen demonstrated the ability is dire. On one of those occasions, she has not only accurately diagnosed the internal medical problem I was having, but offered some startling information entirely different nature along with it. A few years back, I started having trouble with my spleen. To try and remedy the situation, I began performing daily visualization exercises and seeing images of my spine and the spleen in a state of wholeness and health, seeing it being bathed in the healing light, and so on. Unfortunately, I'm a very impatient person, and when I did not have oversight success, I got angry. During my next meditation, I mentally scolded my spleen and warned it in no uncertain terms that it's better start doing what I wanted. This incident took place purely in the privacy of my own thought, and I quickly forgot about it. A few days later, I saw Dreyer and asked her if she could look into my body and tell me if there was anything I should be aware of. I did not tell her about the health problem. Nonetheless, she immediately, as she was confused, your spleen, very upset about something, she murmured. And then it hit me. Have you been yelling at my spleen? I sheepishly admitted that I had died all but through her hands up. You mustn't do that. Your spleen became ill because it thought it was doing what you wanted. That was because you were unconsciously giving it the wrong directions. Now that you yelled at it, it really confused. She shook her head in concern. Never get angry with your body or your internal organs, she advised. Only send them positive messages. The incident only revealed the drier skills to looking into the human body, but it seemed to suggest that my spleen had some sort of mentality and consciousness all of its own. It reminded me not only of Kurt's assertion that she no longer knows where the brain leaves off and the body begins, but me wonder if perhaps all the body's subcomponents, glands, bones, organs, cells, possess their own intelligence. If the body is truly holographic, it may be that Pert's remark is more correct than we realize, and consciousness of the whole is very much contained in all parts. There you go. You understand? You get sick, you get out of order. You got to focus back onto your body as a positive. Everything you feel, don't scold it. You talk to it and say positive things. And you need the positive things to make everything work. This is the holographic universe that we know. And I'm amazed I have nobody on here. And I went and tried to put people on here. And nobody's coming on. I got 80 members as friends. And nobody's here. Like in a moment. Give me a moment. I'm going to get some water. 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 I need water. I can eat. Oh, God. Done. All right. That's it. Oh, water. Water is gone. I had nice and free. Oh, back in. Right here. Oh, shit. Nobody's here. Why is nobody here? I am impressed. I don't get nobody here. I don't know why I don't get anyone here. What's up? I got one viewer, and it won't come on here. It's easy to come on there. Let's go to my site. I can put the site on here. I mean, if you're viewing, you're on here. All right. You should be able to come right on in. And I tried to get people on here. And then I get tired. I get sleepy. Nobody knows. Well, my TJ, I actually went to TJ and gave him a link, but he's not awake. He's not here. I get better hits on my other site, but I can't get into it. They won't let me in. Let me in, Spellbinder. It's a scary thought. Spellbinder knows. Oh. Hmm. I had Dean Engel and Engel come in. She talked for a little bit and then went to bed. But I have no one else that's coming in on here. I usually have 10 people on here. I mean, I have secular and I have other ones that come in and talk to me. But lately, they've been kind of outside the belt. I have no idea why they're outside the belt. Yeah, too much going on, I guess. I mean, there it is. Thursday late night. I have nowhere to go. I have nothing to do. Might as well just talk. Pull the book back out. Right. We'll talk about all types of subjects. I have no end to this book, The Holographic Universe. Seen holographically. I'm going to have to get some glasses on to read this. Or I have to read it at distance and or look at it a little closer. Here we go. Okay. We human beings consider ourselves to be made up of solid matter. Actually, the physical body is the end product, so to speak, of the subtle information fields, which mold our physical body as well as all physical matter. These fields are holograms, which change in time and are outside the reach of our normal senses. This is what clairvoyants perceive as colorful egg-shaped hollows and or auras surrounding our physical body. Carlos Castaneda came upon the same thing. This is Ezeki Bento, Stalking the Wild Pendulum, said. A number of years ago, I was walking along with a friend when the street signs caught my attention. It was simply a no parking sign and seemed no different from any other no parking sign that wasn't even aware that I was staring at it until my friend suddenly exclaimed, "That sign is misspelled." Her announcement snapped me out of the reverie, and as I watched, The I in the word parking quickly changed into an E. What happened was that my mind was so accustomed to seeing the sign spelled correctly that my unconscious edited out what was there and made me see what it expected to be there. My friend, as it turned out, had also seen the sign spelled correctly at first, which was why she had such vocal reaction when she realized it was misspelled. We continued to walk on, but the incident bothered me. For the first time, I realized that the eye and brain is not faithful cameras, but tinkers with the world before it gives to us. There you go. Neurophysiologists have long been aware of this fact. In his early studies of vision, Peregrine discovered that the visual information a monkey receives via an optic nerve does not travel directly into the visual cortex, but is first filtered through other areas of the brain. Numerous studies have shown that the same is true of human vision. Visual information entering our brains is edited and modified by our temporal lobes before it is passed on to our visual cortex. Some studies suggest that less than 50% of what we are seeing is actually based on information entering our eyes. The remaining 50% are perceived together out of our expectations of what the world should look like, and perhaps out of other sources such as reality fields. Hello. The eyes may be visual organs, but the brain that sees. Okay. Hello. You're back again? I'm just reading out of the book, The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbert. He was a genius in his time. And knows these things. I am always fascinated just reading through some of these pages of the book of the holographic universe. It blows me away. The land of the nowhere, or the non-where, actually. There's one to read. Swinburne and the rest of them. Who are the beings of light? There's a chapter that needs to be read. Return to dream time. Let's go back to dreams. Return to dream time. Only human beings have come to the point where they no longer know why they exist. They don't use their brains, and they have forgotten the secret knowledge of their bodies, their senses, or their dreams. They don't use any knowledge. The split has but into every one of them. They are not even aware of this, and paved highways which they themselves bulldoze and make smooth so they can get faster in big empty holes, which they find at the end, waiting to swallow them up. It's a quick, comfortable superhighway, but they know where it leads to. I've seen it. I've been there in my visions, and it makes me shudder to think about it. Lakota Shaman Laman, Deer Lamb, the Deer Seeker of Visions. They go further. I mean, it's the need for a basic reconstruction of science. We need to know this information. We need to know this. And I'm still here, alive and on air, with nobody to talk to, as usual. Oh, what was that? Star Trek. Physicist William Tiller, head of the Department of Materials Science at Stanford University and another supporter of the holographic idea, agrees. Tiller thinks reality is similar to the holodeck on the television show Star Trek: The Next Generation. In this series, the holodeck is an environment in which occupants can call up a hologram or holographic simulation and have literally any reality they desire: a lush forest, a bolstering city. They can also change each situation in any way they want, such as cause of a lamp to materialize or make an unwanted table disappear. Tiller thinks the universe is also a kind of holodeck created by the integration of all living things. We've created it as a vehicle of experience, and we create the laws that govern it. He asserts, and then we get the frontiers of our understanding. We can, in fact, shift the laws so that we're also creating physics as we go along. There you go. We're in a holographic universe. I don't know if people know that. I never thought otherwise, that we're in a holographic universe. But we are. It's a hologram. The jinn are nothing more than part of the hologram. We create them, they come forward, the jinn. And call them demons or whatever, but they can be good or evil or in between. And that's a fact in my studies, that the jinn can be in between. So we live in the world of the jinn. They're around us. They may even be called the UFOs. Who knows exactly what the jinn is? The jinns are out there. They're all around us, it seems. There was a video done, a documentary, where this guy showed that the jinn exist, and exist all over the world. They don't just exist in the Middle East or anything. They're everywhere. They're all. And they're beings of interdimensionality. They interdimensionally exist with us and outside of us. And they can come in whenever they want to. I mean, they're there. I mean, they're jinn. I mean, hmm. Always wonder about people in the Middle East and their beliefs in the jinn, and they hear them as like a cicada ring. You know, they have this, and maybe that is the jinn manifesting. They make noises out there, and they're everywhere, even when you're home. It's just a matter of denying them and not seeing them. We live in the jinn world. I'm amazed I don't have more people showing up here and talking. It just fascinates me. Oh, what do you do, MG42 pillbox? Speak.
Tis I, MG42 Pillbox. What's going on, gentlemen?
Now we're talking about the jinn in the holographic universe.
Oh,
Yes, the holographic universe is a holographic universe because the projection comes from the atom, and somehow we see it this way. What an amazing deal, huh?
Oh, really? That's how we perceive it. And the jinns are out there too. They're ultra-dimensional or whatever you want to say. I mean, the jinns are out there in this holographic universe. They're beings that are invisible. They're all around us, and they seem to come and go as they will. Besides our physical being that perceives such a limited sight of them. I mean, the video camera is able to pick up on them better than anything else. Right. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I think that we are in some sort of unexplainable existence, because if it was explainable, it probably wouldn't be in existence. I'd have to say that the Creator designed it a certain way for us to be able to see it a certain way, and that there are other beings that come to and fro, but those other beings are not necessarily from another galaxy. They are probably from another dimension, and they are probably mostly evil, if not always evil. They are probably demonic, and they are not of God. They are of the evil spirits or Satan. I do believe that they can come to and fro, and I do believe that that's what the misconception is about UFOs and aliens. And when people are abducted, they are most likely abducted by creatures and with names such as like the Nephilim and things like that. That's what I technically am going to go along with that. But you know, with all that said, though, our perception alone, what we can see, we don't even understand. So I don't expect many people to understand what they can't see. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's out there. It's out there because, remember, we're looking through a skull where our brain's in a dark place, and the only receptors we have is our eyes and our feelings and you know, the five senses that are out there. Sixth sense is another story. That does something with the pineal gland, and that's another thing. Well,
that's because we have certain parts of our brain have been shut off. When Adam was made, his pineal gland was probably fully functional, and that's why they probably just floated around and didn't even seem like human beings. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's the thinking, that we were able to see, you know, more than we're seeing today, because we've been conditioned I mean, when I was a child, I saw ghosts and everything else, and then I was told they don't exist and all this stuff. And so it limited my pineal gland to shut down in a certain extent.
Right. They often say that about babies. We would have to assume that small children or infants have parts of their brain still activated, and of course, as they mature, they shut off.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They're told to shut it off.
Right, exactly. And I think, don't all mammals have a pineal gland? I believe even all reptiles do as well.
Oh, yeah. That's the big thing. I mean, I use my cat as a detector of presences around me. It will be sitting there looking at something that I can't see, but apparently the cat's able to see it because its pineal gland is wide open.
Let me ask you, Jason, are you also Spellbinder?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I saw you in the hangout the other day. I think you were in Nephilim Freeze hangout, and he had another person there with a wolf face, and I believe his name is Wolf. He's actually a denialist, or better known as self-proclaimed atheist. But you are not him. You are Jason. You just had a similar avatar, so I wanted to make sure, and I wasn't sure if you were Spellbinder or not. But of course, I just assumed because the name Spellbinder is hosting this.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. I am a Spellbinder. I just had to go on here because on my whatever the other channel I go through won't let me on, and it says I have to update to this, and it's like XP, and I'm like, well, I don't have XP, I have 7. And it won't let me back on as Spellbinder because I run Spellbinder through that, and I try to run Spellbinder through this, and it just keeps bringing up the cat. You know?
Yeah. Man's creations and the computer systems are so flawed; they're just a pain in the neck. Well, let me ask you this: are you a Christian?
Yes, I am a Christian, but I'm a Gnostic Christian. I believe in Gnosticism. I believe that God is actually a woman and not a man, because a man can't procreate this universe without a woman, unless that's the Holy Ghost, which is the 3. You have God, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost. I mean, the Holy Ghost has to be a female.
Well, wait. Let me ask you that. But who impregnated Mary?
Who impregnated Mary?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Isn't it? You got a real problem there, you know what I mean? That might be an issue.
It's a difficult question due to the fact that, okay, she was impregnated. Now, was she part of the Holy Ghost, and that she was pregnated because of that? I mean, it's kind of, because I think.
Well, what about how it says that Jesus is the right hand of the Father? But I'm just so you're not a biblical literalist then.
Well, yeah, I've read the Bible a couple of times, but I believe in the Book of Thomas also, in the Gnosticism. Thomas was very good about talking about this in the book, and it was before they had, the king of whatever who said these certain books are forbidden, but these books are good. And I mean, I went back and looked at them, and I'm like, well, they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they were the leftover of the books that they didn't allow in the Bible.
Right. See, I look at it this way. God, it's impossible to understand God. You have to admit that. There's no way we can understand God. I don't even think when we're in His presence, when we are graced with the that miracle, that gift of being in his presence, I still don't think we will be able to understand him. But I would say that there might be qualities of man and woman that God the Father would obtain of both. You know what I mean?
So he's hermaphrodite. It's God a hermaphrodite.
Well, that's the thing, though. There's only one God, and you see that the problem is to use the male and female thing in our terms doesn't work for him. That is the set parameters that he made for his creation. But he does seem to want to be called the Father, though. I think in a leadership sense, as men usually lead, even in a sense of battle, which we are in a war. So I would have to go with the sense of a father. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that, but I also understand that this is a concept that I came up several years ago. I even presented it to a woman, a black woman in the Air Force. And I said, did you ever think that God is in every one of us, that he's inside of us experiencing his creation, and that his creation, he created it, he's not in it, he's not up there in the sky, he's not there, he's in us, seeing through our eyes, hearing through our ears, and voicing himself through there. That's the meaning of choice. And that's why we have choice, because he's in us and watching us do what we do. I mean, right. I mean, that's the most logical. It's the archon, or the archon blade. The simplest solution is that God's in us, experiencing his outside. He's experiencing his creation through us. We are actually him experiencing everything, but we have our own personality and our own and we're experiencing everything with him following inside us. And the only time that you need to have help is when you pray to him within, that he comes out and makes things possible. That's logic. That's that's like the blade right there. I mean, the simplest solution.
Well, yeah, I believe that. I definitely believe that a thought never escapes God. So clearly, our visions would also not escape him.
But he's not outside. He's not up there in the clouds. He's not out there in the universe. He created this. He's outside of it. So therefore, he created beings that could possess his spirit within and be able to experience it through our eyes and our ears and touch and whatever, the five senses. And that's where he stands. He's not around us, walking around or something. He's actually in us, and he's experiencing it all through us. We are his vessels to experience his creation.
Yeah, I like to think of it this way. In the human mind, you can imagine driving in a car, and you can also imagine at the same time walking down the street, can you not?
Oh, true.
Right, so God would obviously have abilities trillions and trillions and decillions of times more capable. So he could literally, yes, see through every human's eye, see every imagination that every human has at the same time, and also in his own being kind of walk around at the same time. There's no limitation to God. He has no limits.
I think he may have a limit to us. It's us. That's why we're above the angels. That's why he said in the New Testament, we're above the angels, because he's actually experiencing ourselves through us. We're basically vessels. Angels were created outside of him in a
Yes. Yes.
And therefore, we are the ones who are actually walking God. And we just don't know it because we're for Him. We're experiencing reality. Think about it. God doesn't step in and do anything unless we pray for it. And He actually, sometimes He may, if He's deep enough in the person that He's possessing, which is our creation, and He wants to, that person to do something special for Him. It's very complex.
Oh yeah, that's just it. There's no way we can understand it. We can speculate and we can imagine and we can try, but there's no way to even understand it. So yeah, I don't really necessarily disagree with anything you're saying at all. So you could be absolutely right about a lot of that, but I don't ever place a limitation on God. Yes, I place limitations on us, of course. I always compare it to a video game designer. Like, when a man creates a video game, he creates characters in the video game, and he can simultaneously on a 20 different characters first person's view, in a sense, and he can also control one or all of those characters that the person created in the video game. And of course, God's creation would be trillions and trillions and decillions of times more complex. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I don't take past that there's extraterrestrials or other worlds out there that are going through the same thing. Look at the stars in the sky.
Well, that's right. I got you on that one. See, we'll differ there. I'll say that this is the only creation with life, and you'll say otherwise, and that's fine. We won't agree on that. But I would put it in the place of the fact that He sent His Son to die for us. I can't imagine that He would send His Son to die for multiple creations. But that's just my point of view. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to tell you that you're absolutely wrong and you shouldn't say that. But we're going to have our own opinions. And once we start, but here's the problem: once we start going outside of this realm, we're just guessing. And like I said, when I just got on here, there's no way we can even understand what we're seeing, let alone what we're not seeing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right about that. But it just seems that you can see the evidence of thousands of UFO sightings. There's beings out there. They may be angels. They may be demons. Who knows what they are? But they're overlooking us.
But let's put it this way. How about let's put it in a traffic sense. We see traffic on Earth. We see these UFOs and we see these beings coming into Earth, but we have zero traffic from outside of the Earth. We don't have any UFOs coming from other planets or other solar systems or stars or anything. We only see UFOs entering in this literal atmosphere. You know what I mean? So I would interpret it as, yes, the demons would be the ones transporting themselves through different dimensions. I don't believe in the life on other planets because God made His special creation very special, and it wouldn't be as special if there were other creations out there with living things. And here's the other problem I have is that the distances, if the distances are even almost true, the amount of time it would take to travel would be incomprehensible, for one. And then two, we would have to assume that they have some sort of portal technology, which is going beyond God's creation. Like when God makes a creation, sir, He doesn't make a creation that we can leave. You know what I mean? He's not going to give humans the ability. Humans, I'll just say this right now, and I was in the military as well, and I'm going to tell you that I know we never landed on the moon.
No, we couldn't get past the Van Allen belts.
Exactly. So you already know this. So the fact of the matter is, think of that fact that God made a creation. We can't even leave this creation. We can go up and float around for a few hours, but if we don't go back down, we die. Just because of the lack of gravity, we will die.
That brings me back to Gnosticism, that the female entity possessed this world and created life. And she came from the center of the galaxy. This is a story of the Gnostic. She came from the center of the galaxy, came out here to where we're at, out here in the realms, and she decided to create life, and she was impregnated by God and created life upon the world. And that's Gnosticism in a nutshell, I guess. And she still possesses this world, and they call her Mother Nature, maybe. I don't know. I mean, but there is a God out there. I mean, he's watching over, but he's watching over, I think, from within us. I just see that God's within and not without, because everything's an energy wave. Everything's moving. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. And we're only able to perceive because of how eyes are able to stabilize this wave, and we're able to see everything that's around us. But everything is a vibration. I mean, at a point, you could vibrate yourself to a point like Flash maybe, and stick your finger through an object, and because you've equal to that vibration, and you could do this type of stuff.
Technically, yes. Yeah, like if we still had the capability of Adam and Eve, that might be possible. Yeah.
Yeah, see, and they fell because they failed to understand the knowledge that they were given by the snake. And the snake gave them knowledge, but they didn't understand what they had, and they misused it. And that's why God came down and punished them, because even though he said, don't do this, it was like, well, don't do this because I will punish you for it, because I know what's going to happen. and,
Right.
Yeah, and but the knowledge itself is not bad. It's the way it's used is bad. It's good and evil. It's the two-edged sword. You know how it is.
As always, everything is a balance. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm sitting back and I'm just going, well, I've studied occultism for over 30 years with the Bible, and I've come to a agreement that God's within us. I mean, here he is. He's experiencing everything. And the only reason he will interact if you pray to him. If you pray to him, you're praying within to talk to him, because he's not really here. He created all this stuff, but he's kind of outside of it. Or if not, he is all of it. And you could look at it that way too.
But that's the thing. You can't understand it. No matter how hard you try, it's impossible to understand, because we don't have any sort of capability, even in the same understand. We can't even understand the basics of such a deity, that God is. So, it's very difficult, to even wrap your head around. Let me ask you this: do you believe in an old Earth?
Old Earth, meaning pre-Genesis, the second part of Genesis, or
I would say there's so many different versions. I would say that I'm a literal biblicalist, or if that's even a term. I believe in a 6,000-year creation, and that's it.
Well, there's 6,000 creation of us now, but there was hundreds of thousands of years of creation going on, and we're just the newest version of that creation. That's what the Bible picked up at. The new version. Here's the new version. And they went through and did the genealogy in the Old Testament and all that stuff.
So you're saying that God created a creation hundreds of thousands of years before the Genesis account?
it speaks that in the first 2 chapters of the Old Testament. I mean,
Well, I thought. I always read it though. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the
oh,
beginning.
yeah. But yet it gets to a point where it says there was these people, and then after chapter 2, it went on to say he created Adam and Eve afterwards. I mean, after the first couple of chapters, it talks about there was pre-people here. How do you think that Cain got his wife if there wasn't something before and it was still existing, even though that was, nullified? Cain came up with a wife outside of Adam and Eve. I mean,
I thought they married their sisters back then.
No, this wasn't a sister thing. If you actually read it, he went out in the wilderness and found a wife. And it was, after Adam and Eve, but yet it was before, because he found this woman afterwards. Was it Lilith? Was it Lilith, or whatever her name is? The demon queen?
Lilith, yeah.
Lilith, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what Cain came across. I mean, really. And I almost am with the ancient astronaut conspiracist about creation of man through genetics. And these aliens came down, needed somebody to mine the gold, and they created us to go down in the mines and mine the gold for them so they could save their planet. A beer and
well, I mean, I've heard of those theories, but the name Adam means first man.
It was.
Well, I mean, the ancient aliens thing is definitely it's more of a secular ideology, that's for sure, and I think a lot of people try to combine it with the theology or the biblical account. But I would look at it like it's probably misinterpreted. But when I read it, God made the land-dwelling creatures on the 6th day, and He also created man on the 6th day. So if He created man on the 6th day with land-dwelling creatures 6 days, then the creation is 6 days old, and we are only 6 days old into the creation. We have all living creatures and the first man.
You have to interpret what days are. Our days or His days?
Wait a minute. Yeah, but His days, there's no such thing as a day to God in His realm. There's no time. God is not subjected to time. He is outside of time. But when He says day, He means day. That's why He said the morning and the night.
Oh yeah, but you have to kind of interpret that in a way of maybe His day.
Here's the problem with that, though, is that you have to misinterpret the word day. The word day means 24-hour period, so you actually have to go beyond what the word says to assume otherwise.
Well, they've proven that at one time it was a 26-hour day, and now we have a 24-hour day because of shift and everything.
That could absolutely be true, but adding 10 or 11 hours to the week isn't going to help with thousands and millions of years. So even if it's 27-hour days, it's not going to make it thousands of years. It could very well be 27-hour days at the time, but you still have a 1-week creation. That's why God rested on the 7th day, because He was done on the 7th day.
Okay, He was done in 7 days, but it could have been 7 million years, because God is big. God's big. He's not a little person. If you want to believe in the God in the sky, He's big. He's the entire universe. So His day could be different from our orbit around the sun.
Yeah, but we got to realize here, though, it says that 1,000 years is a day to God, like it says. Yes, that's because a day to God in His realm, He's controlling the time. There is no time to God. He is outside of time, but that's why He wrote the Bible the way He did, because He wanted to explain that it was a 1 week creation, and that's exactly what it says. And the farther you go back and translate in the Hebrew, a day is a day is a day is a day. That's what they've tried to get away from that. The problem with the old age ideology is that you don't have symbiosis. You have to have all the living creatures living at the same time to have symbiosis and to have an ecosystem. I can't have the bees without the grass, without the birds, without the trees, without the antelopes, without the deers, without the redwoods. You need everything in there placed at the same time for even the ecosystem to work. You can't have 1,000 years without bees. You can't even have 10 years without bees, and the entire earth would die. So you got a serious problem just based on modern science. Even using uniformitarian principles, you have to look at it like, how do systems work? Well, systems work when systems are in place. If I don't have these systems in place, everything else dies. It's just like saying, can I make a car without a gas tank? No, I can't make a car without a gas tank. I can't make a car without spark plugs. I have to have the 10,000 parts of this automobile to be working. It's the same thing. It's just that's what we know from the ecosystem, and it is supposed to be taken literal, and that's why He said the morning and the night.
Yeah,
it's very literal, and I know it might not make sense because a lot of people with a lot of secular scientists using fictitious dating methods and radiometric dating and debunked, and there's nothing to back it up with, and they're just a bunch of guesses. There's no reason to think that God didn't mean exactly what He said when He said a seventh-day creation. That's the way I interpret it. I mean, I study science a lot. I don't see how you can add a lot of time to it, because that's why God said day. God does not stutter. When God says something, He says it for a reason, and you got to take it literal. You got to realize God is so big. Yes, God is so big, He can do it in a 7-day period.
Oh, okay. I can see your point of view.
Well, I had a hard time coming to it. Trust me, I had a hard time coming to it. It was not easy for me. I was brought up on secular ideology. Go ahead.
I was still thinking about the Anunnaki coming here on Nibiru, and Nibiru. They came here. They have a 3,600 year cycle around our sun, and it's if you go by their days, 3,600 would add up to a lot of days. I mean, if you want to see the Nibiru thing, we are binary.
Right, but where did the writings for Nibirus come from? Where did this writing come from? And then you have to assume that their writing is actually accurate, or you have to take it literal as well. And then you have a whole can of worms saying, well, if I'm going to interpret it this way, how am I going to interpret these things that are also words that mean something now? Do I interpret that they mean something else?
Well, you got to remember, Babylon was created thousands of years before the Bible was written by man. Interpretation of those scriptures, they're all interrelated. You can actually find reference in the Babylonian text to what's in the Bible, and these beings came here, and like I said, they wanted to. They were mining the gold themselves. The people that they brought with them, who were Nibiruans, got tired of having to dig this gold up, and so their idea was, let's create something. Let's create man after our image, after our likeness. That's what Eliam means in the Genesis. If you actually go to the Hebrew book and look it up, you'll find that Eliam means many, many. It doesn't mean God. It's something you got to do your research on. I have the actual Hebrew book, the one that the Judaism book, I guess you'd call it. It's the what's the name of it? I got that book and I read through there, and this rabbi actually interpret Eliam as many. Eliam is many.
Well, that doesn't mean that that's correct. Well, we got to realize, though, that now what right do I have to take this rabbi's word for it? He is another man. His word means nothing any other man's word. And
his interpretation. He
right.
knows it better than you and I do. He knows
no.
Hebrew better than you and I do.
But you got to realize, for every one of those guys that's saying that, there's 10,000 Hebrew scholars saying no, a day means a day. And I would definitely take the majority on this, when there are tens of thousands of Jewish people that believe in the Torah, that know that God created the heavens and the earth and everything else in 7 days. You have millions of Jews that still believe that fact. I mean, the fact of the matter is that Muslim, Jews, and Christians ultimately believe in the same Torah, which says 7 days.
I have the Torah. I actually went to a temple, and I went in there, and I said, I want to buy the Torah. $35. I got this big, thick book, and this rabbi with the Hebrew, and along the side he had in English what he interpreted. He said that Eliam meant many. So when it says that God created man, it was actually we created man after our likeness and our being, and that's what speaks in that book.
But that goes against the creation account in Genesis, though, because the fact of the matter is that God goes into specific detail about making Adam from the dust of the earth, and specifically this. You know what I mean? I mean, this is literal. I mean, God can do what He wants to do, and God doesn't stutter. And you have tens of thousands, if not millions, of Jews saying that this is a 7-day creation. You know, these are smart people as well. I mean, who do we say that these minority people that are saying that this is you're saying that there's many, but then you're saying, well, wait a minute, where did these many come from? You know, there's still, you know what I mean? This causes more problems.
The Anunnaki, that's what it's basically saying. We made man after our likeness and our being, and right, we are just a genetic engineered human. We're like them, and they're coming back here any time now, because it's a 3,600-year rotation of this secondary sun. We're a binary system. That's been proven. So, I mean,
the binary sun might be proven, but it doesn't mean that the Earth and the entire universe wasn't created in 7 days. I mean, you still have to have an ultimate one. There is only one source. You know, you have to realize that there is still, no matter what, only one source. You have to assume that these so-called aliens came from this one source first and then created man. How could they create man, and what would they create man from? Would they create man from a banana? We share our DNA with bananas. I mean, what would they create man from? Monkeys? We have more similar. Why would they create? Wait a minute. Why would they share? Why would we created from monkeys when actually there are other animals that mentally act much more human-like, such as dolphins and elephants actually act like humans much more than monkeys do. So you got a serious problem here that even in scientific realm, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, that what you're doing here is you're trying to also go along with evolution at the same time. Am I wrong?
Well, it's bipeds. They were looking for a biped like themselves that they could convert to walk on 2 legs, and they took apes.
Wait a minute, but apes. Hold on. Well, you got to realize that here's a problem here: is that there are apes and no primates that walk on 2 legs. However, there are many reptiles and birds that walk on 2 legs. So right off the bat, you got a scientific problem right there.
No, I don't, because they experimented on the other animals. They actually tried to make them. That's why we had the Minotaur and all these mythological.
Wait a minute, that's way post-flood. You're talking thousands of years after the creation. That's when the Nephilim down. And yes, they did do experiments, but you're talking about thousands of years after the initial creation. You're talking about post-flood.
Yeah, it happened post-flood, and then when the flood happened, we were already created, and they saved us. The Reese Eniel saved us. He was the one that had the Garden of Eden. He was running the Garden of Eden and creating all this stuff genetically. He was a geneticist, and he was creating all these beings.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, the last problem is this, is that God had Adam name all the animals on the 6th day. He made them come out of the earth again. He didn't recreate. It wasn't a new creation. It was to bring the animals to Adam so that he could name them. Why would he be naming the animal thousands and millions of years after the initial creation? See, that doesn't make any sense at all. And I just know that God was not stuttering when he said those things.
No, he wasn't stuttering. He was sitting there. I want you to go out there and name these. Eniel said, go out there and name these animals. Name these creatures, what you want to call them. And, he taught them knowledge. He's basically the serpent in the Garden of Eden was Eniel. And he actually came out and told him to go out and name all this stuff. And but his higher authorities were not pleasant with that. I mean, have you ever read Zachariah Stitchin's books on the 12th planet and others, the end times, and books of that nature? You need to read through those. He'll talk about Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was basically more half alien than the rest of us, and he was pronounced king in a way, and he went out there and he experienced all this stuff. The stories of Gilgamesh are all in the Babylonian text, and you can find it all in the Babylonian text of Gilgamesh.
Right, but it clearly says that the sons of God came down to earth and mated with women, though. I mean, that's the Nephilim making these different beings, and that's how we got the lineages, and that's why God had to destroy the earth.
Well, yeah, it got to a point where it got out of control. These Hercules-type gods got out of control, and so they had to flush over the planet. But they picked a certain person named Noah, and not only him, there's other cultures across the world that had the same told to them. They said, build a boat, build this, and you'll survive. And maybe the boat wasn't having one of every animal. Maybe it was genetics that they had of every animal. And when the boat landed, they derived these animals from genetics and recreated them on the planet.
Okay. So, let me just say this. So, but you just have to admit, though, that then you clearly just don't believe in the Bible. I'm not trying to insult you, or this isn't negative, but you don't believe in the Bible at all, because this is just completely against the entire Genesis account through everything to Noah's flood. I mean, this is completely in contrast. Because it specifically says that two of every kind were brought to Adam, and these were the kinds that couldn't survive in water, which means land-dwelling animals, not the invertebrates, not the ones that swim in the ocean, and of course not the plants. We're just talking about 20 or 25 to 30,000 animals, including the dragons, dinosaurs, things like that, the mammoths, elephants. You only need if it's 7 of the clean kind. We're not talking about genetics. We're talking about 7 elephants, or 7 giraffes, or 7 horses, 7 dogs, 7 cats.
They couldn't have took care of them on that boat. I'm sorry.
Oh yes, they could have easily. Easily they could have. Oh yes, easily. Yes, absolutely. Why not? Tell me.
The dimensions of the dimensions of the boat. How many cubics it was?
Yes, it was a little bit smaller than it was smaller than the Titanic, 300 cubits. Yeah, absolutely. Do you think 25,000 animals? Are you kidding? You could fit 25,000 animals on 2 decks and have 2 decks left over. It's a piece of cake. And plus that, God even mentions he had them sleep during the entire time. And then he gives specific detail about having 2 of this kind, 7 of the clean kind, and even sending a bird out land. And the bird comes back and even brings an olive branch, showing that there is obviously vegetation, which means there's clearly land available. These details are very descriptive. I mean, the Bible is very clear. And you would also have to assume Jason, you'd also have to assume that you're talking about many gods causing the flood, and you're saying that there's multiple boats or multiple families. That doesn't work either. Why would God ask for all these animals to be on one boat if there's many different people doing it? That just flies in the face of the word in the Bible.
Okay, how do we get the Japanese? How do we get Asians in general?
Well, that's all post-flood. Hey, bro, I'll tell you, that's all post-flood as well. That's all. The Babylon was also post-flood. When Babylon happened, he dispersed the nations. Do you understand? You understand that there are black people? Hold on, Jason. There are black people now with all Asian features, but they have darker toned skin. But all those features were from the original people. It only takes 8 people 4,500 years ago to make all the people on Earth. It's very simple. They've even done the genetics and realized that all the people on Earth only came from 2 no longer than 10,000 years ago. I mean, this is just, it's very simple. I mean, are you trying to tie in, do you believe in evolution as well, or?
No, I don't believe in evolution. I believe in geneticists. I believe in the alien geneticists.
Well, see, that totally discredits God's creation. If you're believing in these aliens, you're completely discrediting God's creation. It's a special creation. The whole point was that God created everything in heavens and earth. It was good. That's the thing. He even talks about the multiple heavens.
When they created these slaves, yeah, it was good. They went down and got the gold for them. And they got to a point where they were making so much noise reproducing and stuff that this one God said, hey, I can't stand this anymore. We got to end this. And then Eno came in and he said, I got to save some of these people. Or put them on a boat, or sail down to South Africa where it won't be affected. And then from there, everything will recreate again.
What do you mean? Well, South Africa, first of all, didn't even exist before the flood, obviously. Here's the deal, though, is that it clearly states that the ark landed in the mountains of Ararat in Turkey. That's Turkey. That's Turkey.
That was one of the boats. There's
only one boat. There's only one boat. That's why
the story from the one book.
There are many legends. But Jason, there are many legends. Yes, there are many books and many legends, but there's only one book. They even talk about Fuhai and Noah and Nuhu. They're all talking about Noah. There's only one man, a family of 8, the Japanese, the Chinese. There's 170 different flood stories about a family of 8 only surviving the worldwide flood, and it was worldwide.
That's your interpretation of the single book written by man.
No, not the single book. I'm talking about 170 different flood stories that match up with the Bible.
It doesn't match up with the reality of it, though.
Well, the reality, but that's the thing, though, is that we still have these vineyards in the mountains of Ararat because Noah made the gardens, made the grapevine gardens, and that's what he did. I mean, it's still there now. I mean, do you know that they've found Noah's Ark? They have found the boat.
Oh yeah, one of them.
That's the only one there is. That's why it's mentioned. I realize they even found cat fur, cat DNA, many different animals, and I mean this is all. I mean, there's no stuttering about this, Jason. I mean, it was clearly written. That's why it says only one family survived. I mean, how does that make sense? I mean, what are we interpreting here?
Well, one family could not create the population. It had to be at least 100 people.
Wait a minute.
It's inbreeding. It's inbreeding.
Yes, inbreeding.
You have inbreeding, you have mutation. You have mutation, you have retardation.
Not then. You're using modern uniformitarianism to judge the past. That's not how it works. The genetics were much stronger back then. They probably inbred for 50 years. Or 100 years, or 150 years, and then they said, "Okay, we can't do it." Once you get to a certain point, then it doesn't matter. But that's why God even said, "Hey, there's not going to be any more of this inbreeding." He even mentions that, so He's already got that covered as well. It's all in the Bible, Jason.
Oh, I know, but that's an interpretation of people who wrote the Bible. It's
Yeah,
man
but
writing the Bible.
when you have all of genetics matching up with it, all genetics says that the entire, well, just look at the population count. The population count, if you just go backwards, doesn't go back 5,000 years. That's it. So the flood account is true, obviously, and we have 170 different nations and flood legends matching the account of Noah identically. I mean, it just makes sense that, I mean, not only does the Bible say this, but you're talking about dozens and dozens of cultures around the earth saying the exact same thing. You know, I mean, it's just a no-brainer. I mean, I don't know how you can pull into the alien card here and say that this and that, and then all of a sudden that you're going to tell me that the aliens created man, and then the big God above the aliens said, okay, this doesn't work, and we're going to destroy it all?
Yeah,
I mean, I just don't. It just doesn't. That's not what it's written, and the Bible doesn't say. What do you take into the account? Do you know that they put? Do you know that the dinosaurs, you know, still lived with man, you know, up until about 1,000 years ago?
Oh yeah, I've seen some of those stories of South Africa where they found the brontosaurus is still living in the swamps in the area.
Sure. Yeah, Mokai Mbembe is what that name is of that animal. Yeah, the one who stops the flow of rivers is what that means. Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, Jason, the Bible doesn't say. I'm gonna be honest with you right now, man. Is that you know, I've done about 7 years of hardcore research, and I was a completely different person before I found truth, and it was a long, hard road. But there's nothing to contradict the Bible. And when, you know, God says he created the earth in 7 days, created the universe in 7 days, he said it for a reason. That's why it says morning and night. You cannot deny that part. And if that's not true, then you're just throwing the whole thing out, which is why you probably don't believe in the rest of the Bible. That's why I'm having a hard time. Why do you think, or why are you a Christian?
I believe in the New Testament only.
Oh my goodness! Oh my gosh, Jason! All right, let's go on to the next subject because we're completely a polar opposites here. Because I'm a biblical literist. Have you ever worked at Area 51?
I know of Area 51. I know of S4. S4 is another part of the puzzle. S4 is where they have the hangars, and they come out of a mountain with vertical hangars at 45-degree angles. The ground drops. It moves, it opens, the UFOs come out of it.
Well, they're not UFOs to them. They're not UFOs to them. You know, they're just advanced zero-point energy flying craft. You know, that's all it is. It's just zero-point energy, Jason.
Well, yeah, I know.
You know, it's not like there's a jet engine. It's not like it's just advanced technology. It's nothing compared to God's creation. It's just, you know, these people were given secrets probably by the Nephilim or demons, you know, since 1947 when we had one crash, you know, in Roswell, and that, you know, blew up a whole can of worms, and we all know about that. But these aren't extraterrestrials, Jason. The reason we know that is because there's zero traffic in space. Zero. All the traffic is here.
Oh, you don't remember the tether. The tether.
I have. Yes, I have. I do know the tether, yes, but that was inside of the Earth's gravitational pull. That's not outer space. It's not even 1,000. You're talking about 500 miles up, Jason. That's not billions of light years. That's in our atmosphere, literally. You know what I mean? I've seen the tether. I've seen motherships. Talking about the motherships that are seven miles wide. Sure, great. That's it in our atmosphere. That's here.
Or about contact. Contact makes a lot of sense. You can drop down in this sphere. Yeah. You can drop down this sphere. It opens up within a second. You can go to another world within 18 hours, come back, and still it was only a quarter of a second. Right,
I know, but now you're going on to Hollywood now. Come on, let's not go to that.
Actually,
crackpots.
No, they based that on the Montauk Project and other things that ever happened.
Right. So why do we need?
I agree with it.
Well, why do we need advanced UFOs with zero-point energy if we can just teleport? That, you know, we're just contradicting each other. You know, why do we need?
How do you know we're not doing that? How do you know we don't have the doorway from Earth to Mars? You go into an elevator, you feel a little strange. The door's open, and you're on Mars. Have lunch, come back, and yeah, they have those.
Why would you want to go to why would you want to go to Mars? First of all, why would I want to go to a red planet that I can't even breathe on and it has no life?
Because it's a way station and a safety station in case an asteroid hits the Earth. They can jump off. The elitists can jump off this world and go there and be protected while everything's happening on Earth.
Right, but now you're telling me God created a solar system that he's not in control of, so that extraterrestrial beings have to now make sure that they can stay safe and have a lifeboat. I mean, that sounds like God is drunk or something. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. When God makes a creation, he makes a creation. When he wants this earth to end, he's going to end it. And if you think you can escape God's wrath, you're a fool. There's no way you can escape God's wrath. If you think you can just teleport and play the game Doom and go to Mars, you're just joking yourself, bro, because there's no way. You can't even cross the Van Allen belts, and you're thinking that we can teleport out there. I mean, why would I teleport to a dead rock?
They have jump rooms. They have jump rooms. They got the technology from the K group, and they put this together so they can jump off. These people are in line with, if you call them demons, and they're in line with them, and they will be able to escape because they were told they were allowed to escape this world in case of what's coming up in the next 3 or 4 months, and they're going to be able to jump off this world.
No, there's no way. There's no way. That's like saying you can escape God's wrath. If an asteroid is coming towards Earth, that's obviously directed by God. So if you think you can escape that, you're ridiculous. You can't escape God's wrath.
See,
What are you going to do, go live on Mars? We're going to go live on Mars and play with rocks until you run out of oxygen? Come on.
You're still seeing it as God's out there in the clouds. He's not out there in the clouds. He's in us.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is God's creation. If he wants to judge his creation, you will not escape it. God could be everywhere at all times. I honestly I already told people this. God is everything. Everything in existence is a projection from his voice. And you think you can escape God? That's a joke. Even the idea is blasphemy. To even think that you can escape God is blasphemy.
No,
I'm
it's
telling
not.
you.
No,
And it absolutely is. That's why he said, you will set your nest upon the stars. He even
That's
warned
right.
us about this.
Nest upon the stars. See,
That's right. And he was talking about people faking the moon landing so that we could worship a fake nation known as the United States because we're so great we landed on the moon, Jason. Come on. It just doesn't work that way because we're in the game. We don't control the game. We're in the game. We go by his rules. He decides.
That's right. You're right on it. He's
Right.
just experiencing this all. He's an experiencer. That's a reason why, things happen. And he allows it to happen. It's choice and everything else. Because he's out there and he's not out, he's out there. He's in Nagel. He's not in the tonal. You're speaking of the tonal, which is a term used by Carlos Castaneda in his books, The Yaco Way of Life with Don Juan. And it's the table. You're looking at the table. God's outside the table. It's called a Nagul. And it's a Indian term, and he's outside. He's outside of all this. We're inside it. We're inside, and we're experiencing it. There was another guy that wrote books that talked about projection of God into us with the higher self and everything, and he basically said God's outside of this. He projects us. We're here to be part of his experience. It's like a big movie to him. Remember, God's experiencing. It's a big movie. He has no contact with his beings unless they want to be contacted with him. There you go.
Yes, but there's zero. Again, though, here's the thing, though. It is his creation. We are not in control. He is, and we will never be able to. We will never be able to escape anything. There's no such thing as aliens because he said he made a special creation in 7 days himself, and then he sent his son to die for us. That would be worthless if there was millions of worlds. There might be trillions and zillions of stars. I'm sure there are so many stars, each individual human could name 20 trillion of them. And that's exactly how he proves and how he explains and how he shows us how special this creation is. Because this is planet Earth, a blue ball with life, and no other place in the entire universe is like it. We don't even know what other stars are like. It is all a guess. We don't even know if the sun is even similar to other stars. And it turns out that the Earth has something like a star inside of it. And we don't even understand that. This was a very special creation. We cannot look past Earth. If you're looking past this Earth, you are literally kind of, shaking your finger at God because you're trying to look past his creation as if this isn't good enough for you. You gotta realize is that there's no traffic in space. There's zero traffic in space, and you're not going to be able to escape anything. If God wants something to happen, it's going to happen. There is no escaping to Mars or escape from LA. It just doesn't work. It's not going to happen. There's no such thing. I'm just being honest with you, bro. There's some things I know in life. I'm not an expert on everything, but his creation is very special. That's why he said he made it. Here it was, and then he created the first man, and then he created woman from the rib of the man, and he didn't stutter. That's what he did. Why is it that
right? It's called geneticist. It's called genetic engineering.
Well, you can call it, that's a very simplistic, feeble term, though. Genetic engineering is something that a feeble human would say. To God, it's something much, much more special. He actually designed genetics. We don't even understand genetics. And fictitious aliens have nothing to do with genetics. And as far as aliens are concerned, we have a lineage of creatures that either exists now or doesn't. Some exist, some don't. Well, we still have seashells, horseshoe crabs, dragonflies, crocodiles. All these animals are still alive today, and some that don't, such as the Triceratops, the Allosaurus, the Tyrannosaurus, the Brachiosaurus, the Brontosaurus, the Plesiosaurus, might not exist now because they died off. And there has nothing to do with genetic mutations or changes from other creatures. These were God's creations. These were God's. Every single one of them is a specific creation from God. That's why he said and told us they will bring forth after their kind, but they are all special creations. He even tells you on which days he made the creations. And if he didn't mean what he said, he wouldn't have said it. It's a literal it's a literal interpretation. That's what the Bible is.
Literal interpretation, yes, for our planet, for just our planet. Not other planets.
No, this is the only planet with life. This is the only planet with life, Jason. This is it. There is no other life.
Not with billions and billions of stars. I'm a Carl Sagan.
Wait. So you're talking. So listen to but you're speaking as an atheist. You're saying because there's so many stars out there, there has to be other life. That's what an atheist would say. You're talking about the probability of evolution now. You're talking about the probability and mathematic ability because of numbers. There must be life. No, that's not how it works. That has nothing to do. If they're life, you're telling me if there was only 3 stars in the sky that there wouldn't be life out there, but if there's trillions of stars that there is, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter if there's 1 star or 150 decillion stars. There's no life out there. God made a very special creation. The more stars he made, the more you're supposed to realize how special this creation is. There are no other planets even capable of supporting life that we even know of. This is all just a bunch of assumptive religious beliefs based on the idea of being interested in science fiction. Is what it comes down to. It comes down to the fact that you got to take your science fiction fan side of you and you got to put it away and realize this, Jason, that all the sci-fi stuff that's amazing and beyond what you can understand is actually here. It is not out there. It is here. We don't even know how the cell replication happens or why it happens. We don't even know why.
Everywhere.
We don't know how. We have no idea how. We have no idea why. Okay. We have zero origins of time, space, matter, gravity, or life from science. Thus far, we have zero origins explained from science. Zero. And we have no evidence from any life forms on any other worlds. Zero. 0.000 is 0.000.
Did you know that one of the Soviet astronauts on the space station discovered bacterium growing on the outside of the craft in its orbit, and I mean, it had to come from somewhere. It didn't come from them.
What are you talking about? Well, where did the craft come from? The craft came from Earth, Jason. So it got contaminated. Yeah, it didn't come from outer space. It came from Earth.
Okay, water doesn't come from comets. You know that, right?
Yes. Wait a minute. Some comets do have water on them, such as Halley's Comet has ice.
But water is coming in space. They've detected water everywhere in space.
Yes, there is water in space.
In space, then. There's life in space.
Zero. No, you just went to science fiction. You just went right to science fiction.
No,
Yes, you did.
no.
Yes, you
I'm
did.
talking about
Yes, you
scientists. I'm talking about
scientists don't mean anything. Scientists are a bunch of
3,000
liars.
papers.
Yep, I know. Saying that, Jason, that's just like saying because there's stars out there, there should be also planets with life. I'm sorry, just because there's waters in space, which are very true, it has nothing to do with life. Water is needed to sustain life. It doesn't mean where water is where life. Now you're going back to the evolutionary ideology of maybe over billions of years, problematic causes and changes over variations could cause life. That's not reality. The reality is only life begets life. Life is always a special creation. You cannot have bacteria without other life forms. You cannot have anything without everything else already there. That's why it's called symbiosis. Bacteria only comes from existing life. There's no way around it.
Then you don't know about the guy in 1800s who took electrical batteries they had, and he fused in minerals, and he put electrical to them, and it created these microorganisms he was able to look at.
They already existed, Jason. They already were there. It's called bacteria. Yeah, they already are there. Jason, how could you... Jason, you realize back then they were saying this because they didn't have the microscopes that we have now. Now that we have the microscopes, we can see that was totally bunk. That's why Miller and Urey experiment has proven this, that no matter how hard they try, you can never create life. There's nothing you could do to even start to create life. And they had to exclude oxygen, and they had to exclude sunlight, and they still couldn't create life. Do you know why they had to exclude sunlight? They had to exclude sunlight because sunlight destroys plasma. In conjunction, or actually the opposite of what an evolutionist would believe, sunlight and oxygen actually destroys life unless there's an already existing life form. So no matter how hard you try, you will never get life from non-life. And that is what science in 1 trillion experiments in the last 150 years has proven over and over and over again. What up, Joel? What it is, bro? I'm laying it down right now. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We got, who is this? SheilaWeb.com and Joel, who so far doesn't have a mic just yet. It looks like he's got his face covered. I see the hand waving. But you got to hear what I'm saying. We tried to replicate that experiment, Jason, and it turned out to be a joke because we didn't realize that bacteria and cells that are minute and we can't see them were already there. The whole idea about hooking up batteries and creating life is pseudoscience. Why do you, if they could do it, why don't...
Silicone. It was silicone life forms. It wasn't bacterium. It was silicone. It was a silicon life form.
Realize that everything is a special creation.
There you go. You're agreeing with me then. That God is creating stuff constantly, and it's always being created. And everything is happening now. It's a continual. I mean, if the Earth was blasted over with nuclear weapons and everything dies, that's here now, God will repopulate the planet again. Okay? Mm-hmm. Is that a good answer on that? See, life is being created constantly throughout the universe. Just constantly. It's a creational process. That's why I almost believe in a goddess, because it's a creational process. God is the one who impregnates, and then she goes out and creates everything. That was one of my observations. I actually had
Jason, you just hear me?
yes.
Okay. Here's the problem. You just said life is being created. Well, that's a religious belief because we have zero evidence of any life forms being created anywhere that are not already existing. We have zero evidence in the entire history. Zero.
Oh, so you don't believe in the scientists out there finding new species of insects just popping up everywhere and popping out?
Yes, Jason, insects. Jason, listen to what you're saying. You're telling me insects creating insects is new life. No, that's called speciation. That's nothing to do with life coming from non-life. Yes, Jason, I'm not identical to my parents. Technically, I could be considered a new species. It's called normal reproduction. You got to understand the science behind this. There's no such thing as new lives being created. Species make similar species. Lizards are only going to make lizards. That's why it's called a gene pool. A skunk can only make a skunk. You can't even get a cat from a skunk. I can't get a pigeon.
I'm actually talking about quantum physics.
It's what? It came from a type of penguin. I can get a new type of I can get a new bird, but guess what? That spider and that beetle and
can mate together and make a new species? No, I don't think so. I'm saying this stuff is happening all the time. Creation is creating all the time on every world in the universe. It's a constant creation of a new species. It's coming.
Jason,
about.
Jason, I could be considered a new species. I'm not identical to my parents, but I'm still 100% human. But because I'm not identical in the scientific world, I should be considered a new species. The problem is, even if I'm considered a new species, I'm not new life. Humans already existed. Insects already existed. Insects beget insects. Birds beget birds. They're not new. They are just genetically changed because the DNA breaks down. There is no such thing as of any new forms of life being created anywhere ever.
So you believe in the genetic change and mutation. Therefore, you believe in Darwinism. Okay, I see.
No, it's going over your head, Jason. Listen. Here's what I'm trying to tell you right now. Listen, dogs make dogs. You can get a Chihuahua from a wolf over time. That's called a mutation, but it still is a dog. There is no change in the kind, type, or sort of living creature. It is still the exact same type of animal. A dog. It is not new. The genetics already existed. Mutations never create new information. But what you're saying here, Jason, is you're mixing evolution with theology and Gnosticism and alien worship. You got 4 different viewpoints here that you've mixed together. There's only one truth, and that one truth is the Bible. There is nothing else. The Bible is true, and you can say science is
King James? King James only? Really? Back
I didn't say King James. I didn't say King James, Jason. If you want to go back to the original Hebrew, it says God. The original Hebrew says God created the heavens and the earth. That's what it says, and that is what is true.
We created man after our likeness, after our form.
No, Jason, we were created, Jason. We didn't create anything. Humans don't create anything except machines. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the alien, the Anunnaki.
I know you're going.
Everything in the Bible was based on the Babylonian text.
Jason, blood. Jason, that was 3,500 years ago. The Bible starts 6,000 years ago, bro. Babylon was thousands of years after the creation.
No. Babylon
Thing is bullshit,
existed
bro. The whole
10,000
entire alien
years
thing is
ago.
a giant scam. And yes, your government does want you to believe in aliens, but I'm sorry, they're
No, you believe in man's writings is what it comes down to. I don't know why you want to believe in man's writings.
No, I believe. Jason, you're mixing alien sci-fi with pseudoscience and evolution and your version of the Bible and Gnosticism. You have 4 different beliefs here. You've mixed into one: Sci-Fi Channel, ancient aliens, and whatever else. I mean, bro, you got to realize there is only one truth, and that is the Bible. And the Bible has no contradictions in science. Science completely cooperates with the Bible. That's why dogs only make dogs. What's new? Why is a Chihuahua new? It has the same genome a wolf has, except it's damaged. There's nothing new on the face of the earth. That's why bats only make bats. That's why dragonflies only make dragonflies. That's why papyrus, even though papyrus, Jason, which I grow in Phoenix, papyrus is 99.9% exactly like grass, but guess what? You can't get grass from it. Papyrus only makes papyrus. There's nothing new. Grass only makes grass. I am not identical to my parents, but I'm not a new creation. I'm a human. Humans have been around since the first week of creation. There's nothing new under the sun, and there are no aliens. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Please share to subscribe to MG42 Pillbox. I am a young earth creationist, and this is the truth. There are no aliens. You guys got to realize that. This is the creation we must focus on, what's here. We can't see past our nose, and we're trying to look at Mars. You guys got to realize this is a very special creation. We cannot look God in the face and act like this isn't good enough, Jason. This is a very special creation. There are no aliens. God made us in his image. God, not aliens. God. We are not any more similar to apes than we are dolphins and elephants. In fact, the primate genome is 10% longer than the human genome, and we have 2 less chromosomes. Guess what? The genome of tobacco is more similar to apes than apes are to humans.
You know, one molecule, one strand in the DNA from apes. We're only one strand, and that difference is the Anunnaki. And the
No, you're Jason, you drank the Kool-Aid again, bro. The genome of the apes is 10% longer. It's not even near what they said it was. They lied. It's not even close. The dolphin genome and mice genome are actually similar to humans than you would want to believe. And guess what? We also share 50% of our DNA with bananas. Why? Because when God creates a creation, a horse or the cow and the banana, or else I wouldn't be compatible. But guess what? Bananas only make bananas, and you can genetically modify an ape all you want. And they already proved that. They genetically have messed with the genome of the primate, and all it does is destroy it. It doesn't work the way they have told you the genomes work. In a way, or even add, it creates problems. Do you understand when somebody gets Down syndrome, they have an extra chromosome added, and it creates a massive problem. There is no such thing as man's being genetically modified from apes. That is more pseudoscience and bullshit. The entire universe was created in 7 days. That's why on the 7th day, which is Saturday, by the way, not Sunday, you rest if you're done working.
I agree with that.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
I agree with that. I actually agree with Saturday.
I appreciate your time, Jason, but I'm honest. You got to realize this bullshit they tell you about the genomes of apes being changed to create humans is absolute horseshit. It's absolute garbage. Jason. You have just Jason. You have just as much luck getting the genome from a mouse in creating a human. By the way, that's also 0.0 chance of making a human. It does not work that way. DNA is far more complex than you think, and it's nothing people even think they know about DNA is a joke. One strand of DNA has more information in it than all the computers and books on Earth combined 10,000 times over. We need to stop pretending we know what DNA is. We can't even fathom the DNA of grass. So let's stop pretending we can understand the DNA of mammals. By the way, each individual mammal is not compatible with the next. A whale's DNA is not compatible with the mouse. It's not compatible with the horses. It's not compatible with giraffes. They're all independent creations, separately made. The similarities have nothing to do with lineages or designs from creatures. Created all, and he used the same tools to create everything. That's why everything under the sun is made from atoms, which are a hardware projection from source unknown. Thanks again, guys. Have a good one.
All righty. Thank you. Doesn't understand the holographic universe. The holographic universe, anything's possible in the holographic universe. It really is. It's a projection. He had his good try. That was good. Anyone have anything to say about what he said? I mean, I'm a realist and a Gnostic at the same time. I'm a realist, Gnostic, and I have different thoughts than he did. All right, Joe. Hey, Joe.
Jason,
Yes.
what do you think about the UFOs?
I think they are either entities or they're actually a ship. It goes both ways because people have filmed them change shape into a human being in the sky floating around. And I've seen a video, I mean, this is actually a documentary video of them, you know, as spaceships. And I'm not really sure how to judge them except maybe Jinn. Maybe the Jinn. Jinn. Jinns. I'm not really sure. What do you think?
I saw some UFOs flying around my house, and I had some videos in my website. I recorded when I can.
Oh,
That's real. That's real.
I say there's multiple, you know, they're extraterrestrial or ultra-terrestrial, meaning they're coming from another dimension and coming in. I'm not really sure how to judge them at this point. I don't know if to call them demons or angels or what. I mean, it's, you know, you heard what the last caller had to say. I mean, he was definitely was so biblical. They couldn't see beyond the biblical. I mean, he couldn't see beyond the written word of man.
Yeah.
I like to look outside the box at myself. I'm one of those people that look outside the box and go, well, there's something more to this than what was spoken in the Bible and stuff. There's definitely something outside. And I mean, you gotta look outside the box every once in a while and say, well, God created everything. I was telling him this earlier, that God created the universe, and each and every one of us are an experiencer for God. He's in us. God's within us. He sees through our eyes. He hears through our ears, touch, everything else, and he experiences. And the only reason he would get involved with you if you prayed to him and said, God, I need this. And he's in you, so he's going, okay, I see that, and make it happen. But he's not the. There's no God in the sky. There's no God out in the universe. He's within his creations, and be it rock, tree, person, dog, cat. God's within, and he's experiencing it all. It's creation. His creation is a creation. It's outside. It's a projection outside of us, and he's here to experience what he created. Therefore, he's within us, and it's all one and the same. And that's kind of a Gnostic belief, not believing in the God up in the clouds or whatever, but believing that God's within you. And it's good and evil at that point, because you can let the evil in, and the evil's outside too. So it comes in, and that's what you get possession and all that stuff is because it's outside. It's outside of reality that we're experiencing.
Yes.
It's,
Joel say he cannot speak, but say you have a very good topic, and he know he know what other pillbox was angry, but it's an excellent topic.
it was a great real talk with him, and a real argument with his belief and my belief. My belief is more on to being closer than his belief in believing in faith of God up there in the clouds and stuff. I mean, but he kind of agreed with me on God's inside each and every one of us, seeing everything outside. I mean, he's experiencing his creation. He kind of went along with that, but he couldn't believe that there's other races in the universe that exist, and I couldn't understand that. Trillions of stars.
Life is everywhere. It's in all universe. Everywhere is life.
Yes, exactly. But I couldn't get him to see that. He says, we're the unique center of the universe. We are the center of the universe. And it's like, no, no, it's not. There's life out there everywhere. Everywhere there's a star that has planets around it at the same position we're at in our orbit has life of some sort. But I couldn't get him to see that. He just thought we're unique and we're the only ones. And he tried to make it like the Bible says, we're the only ones. Well, no, the Bible was written for the earth. Call it the Earth book. And it was about just us. Not about the other planets out there and the other, stars. Everything exists out there. They're all around us. There's extraterrestrials. Some of them may be so advanced that they're in your house right now. Call them orbs. I mean, little glowing balls of light that zoom around. I've seen them in here. I've actually done the flashlight experiment. The flashlight experiment is, yes, flashlight, you can turn the lens on it until it just about comes on, and you just ask, is there anyone around me, any entity? And it lights up, and then you start questioning it and start asking questions. And I have a 24-year-old who's living in our house. It's a ghost, I guess. And she died in I think it was 74. She was born in the 50s. I got that information out of her. And I was able to actually, with the flashlight, coming on and going off,
I say, okay, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off, and then the light would go off. And then I'd ask no question, and the light would come back on when I got the answer that I was searching for. Like I said, are you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? You know, how old are you? It was a question. And when I got to 24, the light came on real bright, and I said, okay, you're 24 years old. Okay, I know how old you are. And I thanked her. I said, thank you for that. Now turn the light off. Turn the light off. I had to get her to walk. I actually had to swish my hand in front of the light to kind of like back her off. And the light went off. And it just went off. And then I asked another question, and the light would come back on. I mean, I watch a lot of these ghost hunter shows, and they use that technique, and it's a very effective technique. It works very well if you want yes and no answers. And you know, you ask questions and you get answers, and that's the way that works. Video I did, it's 5 hours long. You have to go to the end of it. When I did that particular ghost thing with a flashlight, I decided to do it, and I even used a recorder trying to catch asking questions, and I'm still got to go over that information on the recorder. The little, you know, it's like a little handheld, you know, recorder to record, you know, messages or whatever, or thoughts or whatever. And I had that on when I was asking these questions and trying to get a physical voice response on that. And I don't think I did, but I'm going to go over it again. I have to run it through the computer, bring up the volume and everything, and see if I can hear a voice. And but I was getting the flashlight was working great. It was working real good. It was. I'm impressed. That's an actual good method to communicate with the entities or ghost or undead, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
It blew me away. I'm still fanning over the responses I got off the flashlight, and it was great. It was fun. I know I have a 24-year-old hanging around here. Every once in a while I see the orb stuff. I don't know why she's here in our house. She didn't die here. She just decided to take residence here. She may have died somewhere in the neighborhood and ended up taking residence here. I don't know. I asked how many entities there was in the house, and it came out to be 16 or living here. I don't know why they like it here, but they apparently like it. They're benevolent. They have no harm to me. They don't even knock or do anything, you know, like ghosts do, poltergeist type activity. They just live here. They're comfortable around us. And that became an interesting thing. I saw this video I caught on Hulu. Hulu, oh, not Hulu, it was Roku. Now, if you have a Roku 3, or at least a Roku, and you hook it in your internet connection, there's this thing called Paranormal Activity Channel. And you go there and go all the way to the left, there's this video where this guy actually went around to these people who were having paranormal activity that they've been researching, and they show you all this stuff. I mean, there's the orb guy. I call him the orb guy because he's able to catch orbs little glowing balls of light. Some of them no bigger than a tennis ball, and they're floating around out in his yard and stuff, and doing certain maneuvers that's not natural for anything. It would be an insect and everything. They even had this people who caught orbs in the dead of winter outside their house. I mean, you can see the snow and everything. There's no insect.
Are there UFOs flying over your house?
I've seen some things, but out west is where I've seen the most. Was when I was out there in a friend's house who was being built, and I was kind of like the watchman living in a trailer for him. I took my telescope out and I looked at Mount Charleston in Nevada at Las Vegas, and I seen this thing. It looked like a pie plate, like a pie plate, just back and forth, and it was going along the base of the mountain. And I caught that to the end of the mountain, and it shot up into the clouds, and it was heading towards Area 54. I know where it was going, or at least S4 maybe. That's where the hangars are. And that's the major thing that I've seen that I can, besides what they call the flying garbage can. It's not a garbage can. It looks like a 55-gallon barrel, black, and it was floating down the ways towards Las Vegas downtown, and it was slowly turning around, and I was looking at that going, wow, there's something to look at. It was a probe, I suppose. I don't know if it was military or it was extraterrestrial, but it was sitting there in the sky, and it was pitch black, and it was turning around. I could tell because it had a red light on it, just a little red light, and you could see that was turning around and around. It was spinning like it was doing observations, like a, I don't know, like a, like God, and my mind's blanked on me. Like something they have with those little helicopters and stuff, like fly around and stuff. But this was a 55-gallon drum, it looked like, and it was floating, and it was looking around and scanning the area. And that's the second thing I saw in Las Vegas. Otherwise, I've seen things when I was out 100 miles away from Las Vegas, north of it. Could still see the beam of light shooting up from the pyramid in Las Vegas. What is it called? Damn, names are not going. Pictures are going, but not names. It was the casino, the pyramid casino. It shoots light straight up. I could still see that. But I was looking further to the north and to, I guess, the east, and I saw this UFO go down and land. Now, what happened with that is I got my friends to come out with us, and we went out in that area and we walked towards Lake Mead, and these reeds, we came upon these reeds. We were on a cliff looking down at these reeds, and there was how they make crop circles, where there was a crop circle of these reeds, and it must be where it landed. I mean, as far as I could tell. And this is something I came across a crop circle, and it was just these reeds were spiraled. I mean, they were spiraled and overlapped and everything. It was fantastic being able to experience some of this stuff out west when I was out there. That's about the only thing I really got to see was those things. And that was to me proof that something's going on somewhere somehow. I don't know if the spacecraft going along the base of the mountain was military. It may have been back engineered technology. It's you just don't know. You said you've seen UFOs yourself?
Yeah. Um, a few years ago, I saw UFOs flying. I take my camera and record uh, the flying saucer. I have a personal website and I put some videos about that, and you can watch the UFOs. There are many videos about it.
Oh, can you post it on my chat, group chat on the right side? Open up
Yeah.
the chat and I'll take a look at it while we're talking. Because it opens in a separate window. Ah, is that it? There it is. Okay. Okay. It's still redirecting. There it is. Okay. It just came up. Took a little while. I don't know why. You got a video on Daily Motion running. Whoa. Okay. That run through. Okay. What am I looking for in the let's see. Ovi UFO? OVNI? Is it OVNI UFO? Is that what I'm looking for? Give me a pointer here. Skywatch? Skywatcher? Or is that one of your affiliates? Latest news. No, it's not that. I'm trying to find it. That's not it. There I am. You disappeared. Great. No watchers. I'm impressed. No, I really am impressed. I have no watchers. I invite people and nobody shows up. Friends on here too, somewhere. Acquaintances. 9 acquaintances. Might as well do it all. Get some water here. I'll be right back. Yeah. Get some water here. Oh, water. Not do up for me. Oh shoot, I'm out of water. That's not good. Tequila mix. Margarita mix. My God. Okay, I'm back here. 46. Guess I end this at 4 o'clock. If I don't get anyone on here before 4 o'clock. And hope everyone had a good, entertaining night. Oh, this is better. Tequila in it. Okay. I was talking earlier to several people, and I had one Christian who's definitely onto the Bible. Has no outside. You can't look outside the box. I myself is always looking outside the box, and couldn't get him to believe that there's more than one life form in the universe. He believes we're unique. We're not really unique. We are, as far as the Bible is concerned, because the Bible is written for this planet. Call it the Earth book. And it didn't want to talk about outside of what was going on here in the Earth. So, you know, there's more to the universe than meets the eye. So, anyone wants to come on and have a chat, just drop on in. No? Up to zero. Like I said, in about 10 minutes, if I don't get a conversation, I'm off here. And we're going off air in 10 minutes unless I get a conversation going. Anyone who wants to come in and talk. Anybody. I don't even know who I have actually on my list here. Well, there's no one that went down the tubes. There's another one. Come on in and talk. Or this transmission shuts down in 10 minutes. And it will be Thursday night late over if no one comes in and wants to speak. I had conversations earlier. As I said, I had conversations. And they had to go. It was night for them. Night for me, but I'll stay up if I have someone to talk to. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna sit here and lingo for a while. I mean, I could talk about the holographic universe. That's what I started out with, and talked until somebody came on and wanted to talk about the holographic universe that we live in. Say the Big Bang exists. What if the Big Bang was a giant hologram of God and it shattered into trillions of little pieces, and we're nothing but the piece of him that expelled out throughout the universe, and we are part of a hologram. Should make sense. Should. Don't know if it does. And what you're experiencing is nothing but God within yourself experiencing his shattered hologram. There's no way of putting it. Yeah. So nobody wants to come on. I'm live for 8 minutes. Counting down. I'm going to shut this off at 4. Go brush my teeth. Go to bed. And wait for another day. Now, I'll just shut it down now. Nobody's coming on here. Broadcast ends now.